Chapter 1684. 1684 Life and Death Pill Workshop and Holy Item Forging Workshop 4. The Fall of the Weapon Master, the fall of a demigod expert, and the desperate escape of the medicine master caused the two forces to be completely defeated. Everyone desperately fled into the distance, while the disciples of the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan chased after them. It wasn't until Patriarch Feng Yun made his move in the sky that several half-step longevity experts were easily left behind. Out of the 200,000-strong army, only 10,000 to 20,000 people managed to escape their pursuit. The rest of the people all fell in front of the Fire Cloud mountain range. Haha, we defeated the Life and Death Pill Workshop and the Holy Item Forging Workshop. Our Fire Cloud Sparrow clan is the strongest. It's all thanks to young Master Wang that the two experts of the Demon God tribe are on our side. Excited voices came from the mouths of all the Fire Cloud Sparrow's people. They had thought that today would be a battle of near death, but they didn't expect it to be a one-sided massacre. Out of the two forces' 200,000 legions, 90% of the people had died here. There were even longevity-level experts and weapon masters left here. Hiss! The weapon master of the Life and Death Pill Workshop was actually killed. A longevity expert has died. It's been a long time since a longevity expert has died on the continent. Who is that young man? Why is the demon god of the Demon God tribe so respectful to him? To the extent that he is like a slave. And that young man's strength. He clearly hasn't reached the realm of Wansho, but he has the ability to teleport that only a Wansho expert can do. Once the Item Forging Workshop's item master dies, the number 1 forging workshop on the continent will be destroyed very quickly. Report this to the clan leader immediately. This war has truly exceeded everyone's expectations. The artifact master has actually fallen. The surrounding scouts hidden in the void watched this war with faces filled with shock. From the time the two longevity experts of the Demon God tribe joined the Fire Cloud Sparrow tribe, to the time the artifact master was killed, the entire battle only lasted for 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, the two great factions suffered a crushing defeat. The powerful Wansho expert and the youth that could grow to over 10 kilometers in size attracted the attention of all the forces. Let's go, let's hurry up and leave. Let's leave this place and return to the Sacred Fire clan. Everyone from the Sacred Fire clan, who had stayed far away from the battlefield, had shocked expressions on their faces when they saw the battle quickly end. When they had left, a disciple had directly said that their Fire Cloud Sparrow clan was about to be exterminated. The current situation was completely out of everyone's expectations. They did not dare to stay here any longer. 1 longevity-level corpse, 20 half-step longevity-level corpses, more than 100 9th-level void interpretation corpses, 8th-level 7th-level corpses. There are more than 9,000 corpses above the void interpretation level. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the entire battlefield and revealed an excited expression. The resources of these corpses could bring about a huge increase in the strength of the Dragon Palace. Furthermore, the resources in the interspatial rings of each corpse would reach a terrifying level. Furthermore, just by relying on the resources in these people's interspatial rings, Wang Xian's strength would be able to achieve a breakthrough. After all, these were the core disciples and powerhouses of the two major forces. At this moment, Wang Xian's dragon eyes looked to the right. His gaze was directed at the members of the Sacred Fire clan, who were about to leave. A wave of dragons might directly enveloped over 2,000 of them. Whoosh! As they were about to leave, the members of the Sacred Fire clan, who were flying into the sky, instantly felt their breathing stop. Their faces revealed a look of fear. The 4 elders turned around with great difficulty. They looked at the mysterious young man who had already transformed into a human and was staring at them coldly. Their expressions were uncertain. Around them, some of the Fire Lark clan's experts also sensed Wang Xian's gaze and immediately looked over. Congratulations to all the Fire Lark clan members for defeating 2 major factions. Congratulations! Seeing that many people were looking over, The 4 elders of the Sacred Fire clan had a change in expression. They squeezed out a smile, cupped their hands and said with a smile, "Congratulations? When we left, you said that our Fire Lark clan would be exterminated very soon." A Fire Cloud Sparrow elder said with a cold expression, "That's right, you ungrateful wretches. Without your help, we would have been able to obtain victory. We fought against our opponents. Aren't you a little surprised?" Some Fire Cloud Sparrow disciples stared at them with cold expressions, and their bodies drenched in blood as they mocked. "How could this be? We can't wait to be happy for you. Everyone, will return first." The faces of the 4 elders turned black. The disciples behind them also had sullen faces. As they spoke, they prepared to leave immediately. "You ingrate, don't leave. Kill him." However, at this moment, Wang Xian's cold voice rang out, causing the bodies of everyone from the Sacred Fire clan to stiffen slightly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as Wang Xian finished speaking, the 2 elders from the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan and the group of elders instantly surrounded the Sacred Fire clan. Now that young Master Wang had saved the entire Fire Cloud Sparrow clan, his words were more useful than the Fire Cloud Queen. What are you doing? We are the Sacred Fire clan. We are the citizens of the Phoenix dynasty." When the 2,000+ members of the Sacred Fire clan saw the Fire Cloud Sparrow expert glaring at them with murderous intent, their expressions changed drastically. They hurriedly shouted out in a stern manner, "Do it!" Patriarch Feng, who was standing in the distance, swept his gaze over and directly gave an order to the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan's expert. Yes, the 2 clan elders and the group of elders revealed sinister expressions. They immediately raised the weapons in their hands. Terrifying energy condensed, and the faces of everyone from the Lin Sacred Fire clan revealed terrified expressions. No, you can't kill us. Our Sacred Fire clan, our Phoenix dynasty, will not let you off. You can't make a move." Everyone from the Holy Fire clan looked terrified as they shouted out loud. However, Wang Xian and Patriarch Feng had already given the order. How could they stop? The attacks landed on the Holy Fire clan one after another. There was no room for them to resist. "Senior Feng, get ready. We will attack." Wang Xian took a glance at the members of the Sacred Fire clan, who had been exterminated. There was not a hint of emotion on his face. The Sacred Fire clan was a member of the Phoenix dynasty. Soon, they would have a huge battle with the Phoenix dynasty. The Sacred Fire clan was the enemy. All right. The 2 major forces have attacked us. Now that they have been defeated, we can counterattack. Destroy them completely. Make the Life and Death Pill Workshop and the Holy Item Forging Workshop disappear from the stage of the continent. Feng Yun nodded her head heavily. Her eyes revealed a cold expression. Leave some people from the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan to guard this place. The rest of the insightful Emptiness Realm experts will follow us on our expedition. Feng Yun's order sounded. All the disciples of the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan nodded their heads excitedly. "Queen of the Fire Cloud, please leave the medicinal pills and spiritual herbs here for me. Let's go." Wang Xian said to the Queen of the Fire Cloud as he looked at Mo Sha and Devil's Scale. This time, his level could be raised by at least 1 level. Chapter 1685. 1685 with a strength of 16.85 million years. Let's go, let's pass the news to our family immediately. Quick, pass the news to the Emperor. The Fire Cloud Sparrow clan actually wiped out more than 2,000 members of the Sacred Fire clan. This time, the Sacred Fire clan wants to stay out of the matter and not help the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan. It's not unexpected for the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan to wipe them out. Let's go back immediately. In the sky around the Fire Cloud mountain range, the scouts who were hiding in the surroundings immediately spoke up when they saw Wang Xian and the Fire Lark clan's experts flying towards the direction of the 2 major factions. The Life and Death Pill Workshop and the Holy Item Forging Workshop had suffered a huge defeat. The owner of the item had even fallen. The Holy Item Forging Workshop was definitely doomed. For a faction that had already been destroyed, the families and sects they belonged to would be able to gain some benefits from it. For example, the shops of the Holy Item Forging Workshop. At this time, they could completely annex them without any scruples. Young Master Wang, where should we go first? Feng Yun, and the insightful Emptiness Realm expert from the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan, followed behind him and asked him. I will bring Mo Sha to the Heaven Herb Valley. If you guys are interested, go to the Weapon Peak of the Holy Item Forging Workshop. We will gather at the Life and Death Herb Garden. Wang Xian said to Feng Yun. Alright, let's go to the Weapon Peak first. Feng Yun nodded. Mo Guilin, follow everyone from the Fire Lark tribe. Mo Sha instructed Mo Guilin. It's the demon god. Mo Guilin nodded. Let's go. Wang Xian looked at Mo Sha and said directly. Alright, Boss Missouri. I'll bring you to teleport. Mo Sha nodded with a smile. With a shift of his aura, he led Wang Xian to teleport to a place 150 kilometers away. For experts in the realm of longevity, they could teleport as far as the area covered by their domain. If they were to use teleportation to travel, they would need to shift their domain perception. They could teleport for an instant in a dozen seconds. Of course, if they were in a fixed domain, they could teleport without restrictions. However, in a battle between longevity experts, there would be domain suppression. In this domain, it was very difficult for the weak to teleport. With Mo Sha leading the way, their speed was extremely terrifying. They could cover a distance of more than 100,000 kilometers in less than half an hour. Boss Missouri, ahead is the Heavenly Medicine Valley. TSK. I heard that there are many spiritual herbs here. Now that their formation is activated, it will take some time if we want to break it. When he came to the side of the Heaven Herb Valley, Mo Sha's eyes were glowing as he stared at the valley formed by the 10 peaks. The surroundings of the valley were already surrounded by the formation. It would take him at least a few hours to break a longevity level formation. Break the formation, Wang Xian said to Mo Sha directly. The formation in the Heaven Herb Valley was an offensive formation. As long as he got close, he would be attacked. He could not enter directly. Kiki, alright. Boss Missouri, leave it to me. Mo Sha let out a strange cry. His body moved, and he arrived directly above the Heaven Herb Valley. Buzz! A wave of demonic aura that blotted out the sky covered the entire Heaven Herb Valley. What happened? Not good. Someone is attacking our valley from the outside. Inside the Heavenly Medicine Valley, a half-step Wuxia realm expert and 5 level 9 profound void tier felt the vibration of the array formation outside, and their faces were filled with shock. They raised their heads to look at the sky, and when they saw Mo Sha, whose demonic chi surged to the sky, their faces were filled with fear. Longevity expert. There's actually a longevity expert attacking our Heaven Herb Valley. Quick, immediately contact the medicine master. The array formation is enough to last until our medicine master arrives. Within the Heaven Herb Valley, the people inside said with an embarrassed expression. Jia, don't even think about medicine master coming over. Right now he can't even protect himself. All of you inside, immediately open the array formation. I can spare your lives. If you don't open it, wait for me to enter. I will make all of you wish you were dead. At this moment, Mo Sha's voice sounded from above. His words caused the expressions of everyone in the Heavenly Medicine Valley to change drastically. He's lying to us. We can't open the array formation. That's right. You must be lying to us. Everyone in the Heavenly Medicine Valley didn't believe it. This was one of the 2 most important medicinal gardens of their life and death pill workshop. They were able to guard this place because they were loyal to the life and death elixir workshop. It was impossible for them to open the formation just because of Mo Sha's words. They immediately sent the situation here to the herb owner. However, what frightened them was that there was no news after more than an hour. Mo Sha didn't continue to say anything. With his strength, he could open the formation in 5 to 6 hours. Wang Xian stood at the side and watched quietly. His eyes were filled with passion as he looked at the entire Heaven Herb Valley. His current dragon energy and the resources in the Heaven Herb Valley were sufficient for him to advance to the 6th level of the see-through realm. In addition, he could at least accumulate 60 to 70% of the dragon energy for the 7th level of the see-through realm. If he were to take down the life and death herb garden, Wang Xian guessed that he should be able to advance to the 8th level of the see-through realm. He, who was at the 8th level of the see-through realm, would possess the strength of the 3rd level of the longevity realm. He would definitely be a pile of fat meat. Time passed slowly. Everyone in the Heaven Herb Valley had cold sweat and fear on their foreheads. They were anxiously waiting for the medicine master to rescue them. Unfortunately, the medicine master was unable to protect himself now. Boom! More than 5 hours had passed. The longevity realm formation was shattered with a loud bang. Hee, so many spirit herbs, hee. An excited voice came from Emo Sha's mouth. He stared at the experts of the Life and Death Pill Workshop and waved his arm. Boom! The terrifying black flame killed everyone. Longevity level spirit tree, hee. Emo Sha excitedly scanned the entire medicinal garden. His eyes shone with greed. Boss Missouri, the formation is open. However, his greed did not cause Emo Sha to lose his mind. The current him was just a younger brother. Wang Xian moved his body and kept the corpse inside his interspatial ring. Following that, Wang Xian flew into the attribute herb gardens one by one. Stay outside and guard, Wang Xian said to Emo Sha, and started to harvest the spiritual herbs quickly. Emo Sha could only stand in the air covetously. If these spiritual herbs were given to him, he would also be able to break through to the 2nd level of longevity. I'll first increase my strength. Only when I reach the longevity realm can I be considered to be on the path of the strongest in the transcendental continent. Wang Xian waved his arm and swallowed the spiritual herbs into his stomach. With Emo Sha guarding him, he didn't have any scruples. The dragon energy was increasing at a terrifying speed. Ding! Congratulations to host for achieving a breakthrough in your level. As you have comprehended the strongest aspect of light and darkness, the yin and yang poles have been further strengthened, strengthening your dragon claws. Ding! Congratulations to host for strengthening your dragon claws with the yin and yang poles. The dragon kingdom in your palm has been strengthened. Chapter 1686. 1686-16. 86 million years old. Name, Wang Xian. Race, Yin-Yang Dragon of 5 elements, man and dragon in one. Level, Dongshu 6, Dragon Transformation 3. Dragon Glass, 32,123, 11,276, 4 billion/100, 000 billion. Avatar, rules the water tribe below its level. Devourer of life to extract dragon glass. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method, divine dragon transformation. Supernatural ability, soul capture, spirit possession, yin-yang 5 elements dragon eyes. Aspect, 5 elements millstone, dragon kingdom in the palm, dragon head under the heavens, dragon body of 10,000 miles, yin-yang poles, yin-yang 5 elements alms bowl, divine dragon tail swing. Possessing Dragon Palace, Level 3. Members of Dragon Palace, 20093. Roar. A low roar came from the Valley of Heavenly Herbs. Wang Xian stood on the ground and raised his head. A terrifying aura shot up to the sky. Around him, the 5 elemental divine dragon and the yin-yang divine dragon appeared. The 5 elemental divine dragon entered his body, and the yin-yang divine dragon slowly landed on his arm. The powerful light and darkness forces made Wang Xian's arm look like the right hand of a god. Listening to the system's voice and looking at his attributes in his mind, Wang Xian revealed an excited expression. He had finally stepped into the realm of longevity-level combat strength. He was very, very close to the strongest person in the transcendental continent. He raised his arms and felt as though he could reach out and grasp the stars. He has broken through his current strength. At this moment, Emo Sha, who had been watching the sky with envy, felt the aura coming from Wang Xian. He took a deep breath and revealed a shocked expression. He's not weaker than me, He's not weaker than me at all. In fact, he has a power in his body that I'm extremely afraid of. Mo Sha revealed a solemn expression, and his expression slowly collapsed. I, Mo Sha, have been wise all my life. It seems like I'm going to fall at the hands of this person in the future. That mysterious heart and the attributes he displayed. I only have this heart for a few days, and I am confident that I have the chance to step into the legendary godly state in the supernatural continent. Now that he has that heart, doesn't that mean? Mo Sha's eyes flashed. He saw how Wang Xian had achieved a breakthrough so easily, and was emitting such a terrifying aura. What he needed to think about was not how to break free from his control, but how to please this master in front of him. He had a premonition that the master of the supernatural continent might change hands in the future. Buzz. At this moment, Wang Xian's figure appeared beside him in an instant, causing Mo Sha's pupils to constrict slightly. He didn't sense Wang Xian's arrival just now. Hee, congratulations to Boss Missouri for your breakthrough in strength. In the future, you will ignite the divine fire and build your divine kingdom. It is only a matter of time before you become the god of the supernatural continent. Unify the transcendence continent and live forever. Mo Sha quickly bowed and shouted at Wang Xian. Wang Xian looked at Mo Sha, who was beside him, and smiled faintly. Let's go. Let's head to the Life and Death Herb Garden. Yes, boss. Mo Sha immediately nodded his head heavily. His gaze swept across the area, and realized that all the spiritual herbs in the entire Heaven Herb Valley had been taken away. Let's go. At this moment, he felt a binding force. He didn't resist. In an instant, they appeared at a distance of 200 kilometers. 200 kilometers of teleportation was the furthest distance that Wang Xian could travel. His teleportation was different from the domain of a true longevity expert. He used his perception and powerful strength to arrive instantly. Mo Sha felt such a distance and was filled with shock. To be able to teleport 200 kilometers in an instant just after breaking through was terrifying. He could already feel that his strength was probably inferior to Wang Xian. As he continued to teleport, all the scenes were rapidly regressing. Wang Xian was like the legendary immortal on Earth. Boss, the location in front is the Life and Death Herb Garden. I guess with the speed of the herb owner, he should have entered the herb garden not long ago. The Life and Death Herb Garden was located in a grassland. A 1,000-meter-long river ran through the entire grassland. The Life and Death Herb Garden was located beside the river in the middle of the grassland. There was an incomparably huge water and wood essence here. If one cultivated the water and wood attributes here, their speed would increase by more than 10 times. Especially the location near the Life and Death Herb Garden. It was a paradise that could be ranked at the front of the entire continent. The defensive formation in the Life and Death Herb Garden has been activated. Looks like the owner of the herb is here. Wang Xian squinted his eyes slightly and looked at the area in front, which was covered by the azure water curtain. The area was about 50 kilometers in area. Vaguely, there were manors that looked like European castles in the area. The castles were about 1,000 meters tall and looked magnificent. It was just like the castles in legends. In front of the castle was a city called the Main City of Life and Death. There were over 10 million people in the Main City of Life and Death. These people were all direct disciples of the Life and Death Medicinal Pill Workshop. At this moment, everyone in the city looked at the location of the Life and Death Medicinal Garden in astonishment. That was their holy land. What shocked them was that all the formations in the Holy Land were activated. The longevity-level defensive formations and the longevity-level offensive formations were activated one by one. The longevity-level formations would only be activated during times of crisis. At this moment, the news of the complete defeat of their two major forces had yet to reach them. Now that the formations were suddenly activated, everyone in the Life and Death Elixir Workshop was extremely surprised. Let's go. Wang Xian stood in the air and moved his feet slowly. Boss, with the combination of 2 layers of level 2 longevity array and a level 1 longevity array, it will be difficult for us to enter. Without 3 or 4 longevity experts, It will be impossible to break their array. We can only enter when Devil Phoenix Cloud and the rest arrive. Emo Sha stared at the array in front of him and said with a slight frown, "No need." Wang Xian smiled and continued to walk into the life and death herb garden. "Who dares to fly above our life and death elixir workshop? Come down quickly." At this moment, a cold shout came from the life and death main city below. 5 experts at level 5 of the see-through void tier flew directly towards the sky and glanced at Wang Xian and Emo Sha with arrogance and coldness. "Kiki, we are here to take the dog head of your medicine master. How dare you bunch of small fries make a ruckus?" Emo Sha looked at the 5 reckless people and waved his arm. Pung pung pung. The 5 corpses directly fell into the city. Emo Sha did not conceal his voice at all, directly resounding throughout the life and death main city. "What? Who is so arrogant? Not good, our 5 deacons have been killed." At this time, in the city below, when everyone heard Emo Sha's arrogant words, their faces revealed cold expressions. One after another, figures flew directly towards them. 2 profound void tier 9 experts, a group of experts at the 8th rank and below. These were the disciples of the life and death pill workshop that had stayed behind to guard the city. "Kiki, the artifact master of the Saint Item Forging Workshop, has died. Next, it's up to you, medicine master. Open the formation and come out to die." Emo Sha swept a glance at the group of people flying over, completely ignoring them as he roared towards the life and death pill garden. Chapter 1687. 1687. Under the power of 1687 million years of life. Come out and face your death. Come out and face your death. Wang Xian and Emo Sha hovered in the sky proudly and stared at the life and death herb garden in front of them. The echoes reverberated in the entire sky. The experts in the life and death main city were stunned when they heard Emo Sha's words. Their faces were filled with astonishment. "Who are you people? How dare you insult our herb master? You deserve to die 10,000 times." The expressions of the experts from the life and death pill workshop changed drastically as they roared with killing intent. "Our medicine master went to exterminate the Firelark clan. The 2 of you dare to cause trouble at our life and death pill workshop. Go! Devil God, you treacherous fellow, the one who should die is you, it's you." The old man in the lead roared at Emo Sha sternly. However, an incomparably furious voice suddenly sounded. This voice caused the expressions of the experts from the life and death pill workshop to change drastically. It's the medicine master's voice. Heavens, the medicine master has returned. What happened? Gulp, demon god? Could it be, could it be? The expressions of the 10 over profound void martial experts from the life and death pill workshop changed drastically. Their bodies could not help but retreat by more than 10 meters. In the city below, everyone's faces were filled with astonishment, and a trace of fear slowly appeared on their faces. TSK, the weapon master is already dead. Next, it's your turn." Emo Sha laughed sinisterly, his gaze fixed on the figure at the top of the castle in the life and death pill garden. The pill master, who was dressed in white and blue clothes with 2 life and death embroidered on his chest, had a ruddy complexion, and his blood-red eyes were staring at Emo Sha. The unhealthy red color was obviously because he had consumed a powerful medicinal pill. "It's impossible to kill me. Even if all 3 of you come here, you won't be able to break through the defense of the life and death herb garden. Haha, there are enormous spirit herbs and medicinal pills in the life and death herb garden. With enough spirit stones, even if you attack outside for 100 years, you won't be able to break through it. Just you wait, just you wait. In the future, I will turn into a ghost and entangle around you, killing all of your disciples, all of them." The medicine master's expression was incomparably malevolent as he roared at Emo Sha. His entire person was like a devil. It was over, everything was over. The 2 great factions had led almost all of their core disciples to exterminate the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan. Now 90% of them had died there, and the weapon master had fallen directly. With the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan's strength and the demonic god tribe, their life and death pill workshop had completely fallen. Even now he could barely keep his little life. Everything was caused by this demonic god in front of him. If they hadn't betrayed their trust and suddenly joined the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan, how could they have been so miserable? The faction that had stood for nearly 100,000 years had actually been destroyed in his hands. It caused his heart to be incomparably sorrowful and indignant. TSK Medicine Master, do you think you still have this chance? Immediately open the formation, or else I'll slaughter all the disciples in your life and death main city. Emo Sha heard the Medicine Master's words and spoke in a dense voice. A terrifying killing intent directly filled the entire space. Darkness surged out from his body and slowly covered an area of 150 kilometers, enveloping the entire life and death main city. Heavens this! What a terrifying killing intent! I feel my entire body become incomparably cold. The Tool Master actually died, and our life and death pill workshop. It seems that only the Medicine Master escaped. What exactly happened? Don't kill us, don't kill us. Darkness covered the area, and sounds of terror rang out from the city below. The dozen or so people in the sky trembled even more, and their bodies directly fell downwards. Within Emo Sha's domain, a single thought from him could cause everyone to die. This was the terrifying aspect of the longevity experts. They were worlds apart from the profound void realm. Haha, kill. Demonic god. I swear that I will return everything that happened today to all of you 100-fold, or 1,000-fold. The Medicine Master's expression was malevolent as he crazily roared. His words caused Emo Sha to slightly raise his brows. Within the city, everyone who heard their Medicine Master's words revealed a terrified expression. No, Medicine Master, don't give up on us. Their faith had collapsed. The invincible Medicine Master in their hearts had actually given up on them. This caused all of them to feel as if they had lost their souls. They looked towards the sacred land with fear on their faces. Unfortunately, the barrier of the array had caused them to be unable to see the noble Medicine Master of the past. At this moment, they could only see his incomparably savage face. Good. Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? Today, I'll let you personally watch as I kill everyone in your life and death pill workshop. Kiki. Emo Sha let out a strange cry. His face was filled with a violent killing intent. Just kill the Medicine Master. Wang Xian waved his hand to stop Emo Sha from killing. As he spoke indifferently, his body moved. The yin-yang taiji diagram appeared around him and enveloped Emo Sha within it. His body moved and he flew straight to the front. Emo Sha was slightly stunned. He didn't ask any more questions and followed behind obediently. It's all because of you, you little bastard. If it wasn't for you, that treacherous devil god wouldn't have attacked us. You damn little bastard. I will kill you with my own hands in the future. No, I won't kill you. I will make your life a living hell and torture you for 1,000 years. You still want to charge in? Let me tell you, you're delusional. When the Medicine Master saw Wang Xian and Emo Sha charging in this direction, he continued to roar with his blood-red eyes. Everything was because of this little bastard. However, just as he was about to finish his sentence, Wang Xian led Emo Sha and penetrated through the formation. The formation that could seriously injure a level 1 Wansho master landed on Wang Xian's body and was blocked by the yin-yang dual polarity diagram around him. The formation that could block the entrance of a level 1 Wansho master was actually penetrated by him gently. There was no obstruction at all. As the herb owner was speaking, his mouth was still open. When he saw Wang Xian and Emo Sha entering the formation, he was completely stunned. He slowly closed his mouth and pursed his lips. A trace of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Kiki. Emo Sha was slightly stunned when he saw Wang Xian bringing him in so easily. Then he started to laugh out loud. How could you? Demon God, let me tell you. You are the only one here. If I were to fight you to the death, you will also die here today. The Medicine Master, who was standing at the top of the castle, could not help but take 2 steps back. He looked at Emo Sha with a face full of shock and fear. He had already witnessed Emo Sha's strength. He was no match for him in a one-on-one fight. Emo Sha, protect the spiritual herbs and the castle in the life and death herb garden. I want to test my strength. Wang Xian, who was standing at the side, swept his gaze across the life and death herb garden. A hint of passion flashed across his eyes. His gaze landed on the herb owner. He raised his eyebrows and said directly, "It's the boss." Mo Sha immediately nodded and looked at the stunned medicine master at the side mockingly. Chapter 1688. 1688 was easily killed. Just you little bastard. While the medicine master was in a daze, he saw that Wang Xian was actually going to fight with him. His ferocious face broke into a smile, and his blood-red eyes stared at him disdainfully. When they were in front of the Fire Cloud mountain range, the medicine master had also witnessed Wang Xian's strength. He was an expert who was at the peak of half-step longevity. Although he was very strong, it was impossible for him to challenge Wang Xian. Hee. Wang Xian smiled faintly. Without any hesitation, he appeared beside the medicine master in a flash. What? The medicine master's expression changed slightly when he saw Wang Xian, who had teleported to his right. He raised his palm and attacked Wang Xian's chest. Boom! Wang Xian smiled. He waved his right hand as well, and welcomed the attack directly. His entire arm was emitting a grayish energy. The moment he activated it, it was as if there was a Taiji diagram wrapping around his arm. Wang Xian, whose strength had increased to the 6th level of the see-through void tier, had his dragon claws strengthened by the yin and yang poles. The strengthening of the yin and yang poles could allow Wang Xian's defense to reach a terrifying level. It was not an exaggeration to say that if Wang Xian were to die, his dragon claws would not wither. They would be like the body of a god, immortal and indestructible. Even if an expert of the 1st level of longevity was to stand there and attack continuously, he would not be injured. This was the terror after the strengthening. Bang! The huge force collided, and the fists and palms collided. The face of the medicine master still had a hint of malevolence. The water flow in his palm stirred. Looking over, it was as if there was an ocean churning in his hand. However, very quickly, the medicine master's expression stiffened. The ocean in his hand was like an incomparably large mountain peak that directly fell into the center, causing seawater to splash in all directions. Crack crack. A crisp and intense sound was transmitted over. His body directly flew backwards at a terrifying speed. Boom. In an instant, the corpse landed on the defensive barrier of the formation and let out a muffled sound. How is this possible? Aren't you at the half-step longevity realm? The medicine master's arm drooped to the side of his body. He stared at Wang Xian in shock and roared in a low voice. I've just advanced to the longevity realm. I'll use you as a sparring partner. Wang Xian smiled. His body flashed again, and he appeared directly in front of the medicine master. Get lost. A Wancho master, who has just advanced, wants to fight with me. The medicine master's expression changed drastically. His body emitted a bright blue light, and a staff appeared on his chest. He took out a pill with his trembling right hand and put it into his mouth. The injuries on his arm were recovering at a terrifying speed. What a waste! Wang Xian looked over and waved his arm. It turned into a 10-meter-long dragon claw and attacked the herb owner. Azure Domain, suppress it! The herb owner roared, and the entire life and death herb garden was instantly covered by the blue water energy. The power of the domain. Is this the domain? Sensing the domain with his own body, Wang Xian's body shook. He went up to the 5 elements grinding mill and stepped on the yin-yang tai chi. Suppress! He shouted loudly. The azure blue light disappeared at a terrifying speed. The 5 elements millstone was the sky while the yin-yang tai chi was the earth. It completely neutralized the domain. What domain is this? The medicine master's blood-red eyes scanned the sky and the earth. His expression was extremely ugly. Dead people, there's no need to know too much. Wang Xian flew directly towards the medicine master. The domain was neutralized and filled, preventing them from teleporting. The moment he flew, his body transformed into the body of a divine dragon. The body of a divine dragon, that was 500 meters in size, was considered a huge existence in the Transcendence continent. Roar, roar. Wang Xian laughed maniacally. He felt that his entire body was filled with powerful strength. The invincible dragon claws attacked the medicine master directly. You want to kill my medicine master? Impossible, impossible. I have lived for more than 8,000 years. How can I be defeated by a little bastard? The master looked at Wang Xian, who was flying over. He held the staff in his hands tightly. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Countless sea creatures appeared out of thin air from within the staff and attacked Wang Xian directly. Thousands of creatures flew out in an instant. It was as if they were summoned by the god of the sea and attacked him violently. Enjoy my strongest attack, Azure Tear. The herb owner, who was holding his staff tightly, grinned as he stared at Wang Xian. At this moment, he was holy and powerful. Let me tell you. The one who killed you is the Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. You can go to hell now. Wang Xian stared at the densely packed water energy sea beasts in front of him and smiled coldly. Ocean, I am the king. He extended his dragon claws and moved his body. He clawed at the sea beasts that were blocking his way. The sea beasts that were formed from the water element were unobstructed. What a terrifying body. The herb master's expression changed drastically when he saw Wang Xian, who was pressing forward. Dragon claws of the yin-yang and 5 elements die. Wang Xian extended his dragon claws, and the entire dragon claw expanded by dozens of meters. The sea beasts dissipated one by one. The gigantic dragon claw covered the herb master. No! How can a person who has just stepped into the realm of longevity be my match? The herb master's eyes were filled with disbelief when he saw the invincible Wang Xian. He raised the staff in his hands and hurled it forward heavily. However, the herb master, who was less than 2 meters tall, was like an ant in Wang Xian's dragon claw. The dragon claw covered him directly. His attack landed on the dragon claw without any fluctuation. He exerted strength and clenched it. Ah! A miserable scream came from the dragon claw. A smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. His body moved and immediately transformed into a human figure. On the ground, a corpse that had lost its vitality was lying there quietly. Boss is awesome. Boss is mighty. Boss is invincible. Mo Sha, who was standing at the side, looked at the herb master, who was killed, in shock. He quickly shouted out loud. As he shouted, his eyes were filled with shock. He had fought with the herb master and weapon master before. He was confident that he could kill the herb master. However, he could not kill the herb master so quickly and completely suppress him. Alright, open the formation. Go to the city outside and bring all the treasures and elixirs over. Wang Xian was a little speechless as he looked at Mo Sha, who was cheering for him. Yes, boss. Mo Sha immediately smiled and nodded. He went to the sky above the castle and opened the formation. Kiki, everyone in the main city of life and death, listen up. Your medicine master is dead. Hand over all the elixirs and treasures in your city. Otherwise, don't blame me for starting a massacre. Listening to Mo Sha's voice from outside, Wang Xian smiled and teleported to the sky above the castle. 5 longevity first-grade spiritual herbs. 3 longevity first-grade spiritual trees. 2 longevity second-grade spiritual trees. There are more than 100,000 void interpretation level cultivators. Although there are many who are not mature yet, they are enough for me to improve crazily. A force that has stood on the continent for 70,000 to 80,000 years is really terrifying. Chapter 1689. 1689. The final layout of 1689. Wang Xian stood at the top of the castle and overlooked the fairyland-like area of the Life and Death Pill Workshop. Looking at the spiritual herbs and trees, his face was filled with smiles. He moved his body and plucked all the ripe spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits. The Life and Death Pill Workshop was a faction that was second only to the 5 great empires. It had stood for 70,000 to 80,000 years and experienced the vicissitudes of history. It was no exaggeration to say that they could nurture more than 10,000 experts at level 9 of the profound void realm, with all their resources. Of course, they had enough resources, but not many geniuses could break through to level 9 of the profound void realm. In order to break through in human cultivation, one not only needed pills, but also a strong comprehension ability. Some people couldn't break through no matter how many pills they had. If all these elixirs were given to the disciples of the Dragon Palace to consume, it would be able to directly increase the strength of the Dragon Palace to a terrifying level. However, I should temporarily increase my strength by 1 level. Wang Xian thought to himself. Boss, all the elixirs and treasures in the main city of life and death are here. At this moment, Emosha flew over. This bunch of poor bastards don't have many treasures at all. As he spoke, he glanced around, and his eyes were filled with desire. Give it to me. Wang Xian stretched out his hand, and took the interspatial ring from Emosha's hand. At this moment, Emosha's stuttering voice was heard. What's the matter? Wang Xian looked at him and asked directly. Boss, can you give me some medicinal pills and spiritual herbs as well? My strength is about to break through. Emosha rubbed his hands and asked Wang Xian tentatively. About to have a breakthrough? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows, and a thoughtful look appeared on his face. What's the current situation in the Nine-God Empire? Wang Xian looked at Emosha and asked. As the demon god of the Nine-God Empire, one of the 9 gods, he had great authority in the Nine-God Empire. If Emosha could use the power of the Nine-God Empire in the future, many things would be much simpler. Boss, the Nine-God Empire is made up of 9 tribes. They are the 9 tribes of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning, and light. We belong to the demon god tribe, and our strength can be ranked in the top 3 in the Nine-God Empire. The Nine-God Empire has a total of 14 longevity experts, which is the weakest existence among the 5 great empires. Now the position of the Master of the 9 Gods is controlled by the Thunder God tribe. Thunder God is the master of the 9 gods in the Nine-God Empire, so he has the right to mobilize all the power of the 9 gods. The strength of the Thunder God should be at level 4 of longevity. The position of the leader of the 9 gods should be occupied by those who have the strength. Emosha said to Wang Xian. Level 4 of longevity? Then the gap between the two of you is quite big. Wang Xian frowned slightly. He still wanted to let Emosha control the 9-God Empire. Then, it would be very easy for him to deal with the Phoenix dynasty in the future. Now it seemed to be a little difficult. Boss, I am about to break through to the 2nd level of longevity. Moreover, as long as I have the resources, I will be able to improve quickly. I have the confidence to reach the 4th level of longevity within 100 years and completely control the 9 gods empire. Within 1,000 years I, Emosha, have the confidence to reach the peak of longevity. Emosha said with a burning gaze. 100 years is too long. Wang Xian shook his head slowly. Boss, there is another way. Emosha hesitated for a moment before continuing. What is it? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and looked at him. This is to give me the spiritual herbs in the life and death pill workshop. After I consume it, coupled with all the resources of the demon god tribe, my strength will reach the 4th level of longevity in 7 to 8 months. At that time, I have the confidence to defeat the current master of the 9 gods and become the master of the 9 gods empire. Emosha said with confidence. Are you going to consume these spiritual herbs? Wang Xian was deep in thought. Even if Wang Xian consumed all the pills here, he would at most have the strength of level 3 of longevity. This strength was very strong. However, if Emosha were to advance to level 4 of longevity and take control of the 9 gods empire, the benefits would be incomparable. If Emosha really became the master of the 9 gods empire, it would be equivalent to him taking control of the 9 gods empire indirectly. When Emosha saw Wang Xian suddenly falling into deep thought, a look of anticipation shot out from his eyes as he stared at him intently. Sure, but I hope that after you consume these spiritual herbs, you will be able to take control of the 9 gods empire. Wang Xian looked at him and nodded his head. Don't worry, boss. Becoming the master of the 9 gods was once my lifelong wish. If I can reach the 4th level of longevity, I will definitely be able to take that position. Emo Shah's eyes were filled with desire as he spoke with a fiery gaze. These are mature spiritual herbs. Here. Wang Xian passed all the spiritual herbs to Emo Shah. Boss, you will be my real boss in the future. Even if they are dragons, I will still dare to do it with your command. Emo Shah looked at the interspatial ring that Wang Xian handed over. His eyes were burning with passion as his body trembled. Wang Xian smiled and didn't mind. The next step of the plan was for the Dragon Palace to enter the Sea of Extraordinariness. The Dragon and Phoenix Empire was to establish an empire, and the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. After the establishment of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire, there was an 80% chance that they would fight with the Phoenix Empire. At this time, if Emo Shah could control the Nine-God Empire, even if the Phoenix Empire was larger than the Dragon and Phoenix Empire, he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. The Nine-God Empire was very important to the Dragon Phoenix Empire in the future. Besides that, I have to find a base of the Dragon Palace in the Sea of Extraordinariness. Wang Xian thought to himself. The entire Sea of Extraordinariness took up a quarter of the area. The rest of the demonic beast races in the Sea of Extraordinariness were ruled by the dragon race. Basically, the entire sea was the territory of the dragon race. It would be difficult for the Dragon Palace to occupy a place here. He needed to find a hidden place to slowly erode the power of the dragon race in the Sea of Extraordinary. It seems like after the matters of the Life and Death Pill Workshop and the Holy Item Forging Workshop are settled, I will have to go to the Sea of Extraordinary to find a hidden area. After I find it, I will return to the vast area. Wang Xian thought to himself. Emo Shah, gather some information about the extraordinary sea for me. Wang Xian gave an order to Emo Shah. With a move of his body, he entered a room in the castle. Yes, boss. I promise to send the information to you as soon as possible. Emo Shah replied loudly with an excited face. In less than 5 hours, Emo Shah sent all the information about the extraordinary sea. Wang Xian took the information and started to read it. Boss, the members of the Fire Lark clan are here. Time passed slowly for more than 20 hours. At this moment, Feng Yun and the rest rushed over from the Holy Relic Forging Workshop. The Holy Relic Forging Workshop should have a lot of resources. It should be enough for me to level up by 1 level. He stood up and flew out immediately. Chapter 1690. 1690 Central Continent 1690 was shaken. Young Master Wang, all the treasures and resources in the entire weapon peak have been taken by us. Just as Wang Xian flew out, Patriarch Feng Yun and a few elders from the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan walked over and said excitedly, Senior Feng Yun. Wang Xian smiled at them. I've taken all the resources in the Life and Death Pill Workshop. I have some things that I need. Also, do you have many elixirs and spiritual herbs in the Holy Item Forging Workshop? Give them all to me. Young Master Wang, you don't have to call me senior anymore. I heard from the demon god that you've made a breakthrough and reached the realm of longevity. Young Master Wang, please call me Feng Yun. Feng Yun said with a smile on her face as she handed over one interspatial ring after another. I know that elixirs and spiritual herbs are of great use to you, Young Master Wang. All the elixirs and spiritual herbs are here. In addition, there are some longevity-grade ores and metals here. As a faction that has been standing on the continent for nearly 100,000 years, their treasures are really shocking. As she spoke, her eyes were filled with excitement. In terms of heritage, the Life and Death Elixir Workshop and the Holy Item Forging Workshop were much more powerful than the Fire Cloud Sparrow clan. The Fire Cloud Sparrow clan had only risen to power for less than 2,000 years. Compared to these two major factions, the gap between their heritage was huge. Even Feng Yun was envious of the treasures in the Holy Item Forging Workshop. However, she didn't leave anything behind and handed everything over to Wang Xian. Longevity-grade metal? Wang Xian took the interspatial ring and glanced at it. His eyes were filled with excitement. The elevation of the Dragon Palace required longevity-grade materials and spirit stones. There was no lack of spirit stones, but longevity-grade materials were very rare. These metal materials would be of great use to the upgrade of the Dragon Palace in the future. Keep the completed weapons for yourselves. Give me the materials. Wang Xian handed some of the items to Feng Yin. The Fire Lark tribe had suffered heavy losses in this war. At the very least, they needed to leave some resources for them. There were many weapons in the interspatial ring. It was enough to make up for the huge losses. Young Master Wang, since you don't need them, I'll give these weapons to the Empress. After the matter is settled, I'm going to make a trip to the Empress's place. Feng Yin said happily. Okay. Wang Xian nodded. The Life and Death Herb Garden of the Life and Death Elixir Workshop is a pretty good paradise. Send someone to occupy this place, and make preparations for the future. I know. I've already sent someone to occupy the Weapon Peak. There's a formation here in the Life and Death Herb Garden, so it's easier to occupy it. Feng Yin nodded. Young Master Wang, are you going back after your business is over? I'm not going back. I still have some matters to attend to. Wang Xian shook his head. After chatting with him for a while, Wang Xian returned to his room in the castle. Meanwhile, Feng Yin led the Fire Larks to take over the Life and Death Herb Garden, and the Life and Death main city of the Life and Death Elixir Workshop. Although the Holy Item Forging Workshop is used to forge weapons, there are quite a number of elixirs and spiritual herbs. There are even a few longevity-grade spiritual herbs. These elixirs and spiritual herbs, along with the elixirs and spiritual herbs in the interspatial rings of the more than 9,000 insightful void stage powerhouses that I killed, are enough for my level to rise by another level. After returning to the castle, Wang Xian checked all the resources and made a mental calculation. Ever since he came to the central continent, his combat strength of level 9 of the see-through realm had been elevated to level 2 of the longevity realm. It was a huge boost. Get Mo Sha to bring those elixirs over. Continue to read the information on the extraordinary sea. He laid comfortably on the bed and flipped through the information. As time passed by slowly, the news of the chief potion master of the Life and Death Elixir Workshop and the Holy Item Forging Workshop leading all the core disciples to attack the Fire Lark tribe was quickly spread to the ears of the various factions. When those factions learned that the Weapon Master and Medicine Master had invited the Demon God tribe, and that the 2 longevity experts of the Demon God tribe had defected, all of them revealed shocked expressions. Especially when they saw the scene transmitted over by the scouts, all of the large factions' faces were filled with shock. Even the gods of the other tribes of the 9-God Empire were also filled with shock. The mighty demon god of the Demon God tribe had actually knelt down to a youth who had yet to reach the longevity realm. The demon god could be considered one of the top experts in the continent. What made them even more shocked was that the weapon master of the Holy Item Forging Workshop was actually killed on the spot. The leader of a faction that had existed for 70,000 to 80,000 years was directly killed. Following that, news quickly spread to the ears of all the factions in the central continent. The Weapon Peak was occupied by the Firecloud Sparrow clan. The demon god went to the Life and Death Herb Garden and was suspected to have killed the Medicine Master. The Life and Death Herb Garden was occupied by the Firecloud Sparrow clan. The news one by one shook the entire central continent. Even the emperors of the 5 great empires knew about this news. After all, this was the destruction of 2 top-tier factions and the death of a longevity expert. And a mysterious youth known as Young Master Wang and the assassin organization under Young Master Wang entered the sights of all the major factions. Patriarch, you have to make a decision for our disciples. The disciples who went to support the Firecloud Sparrow clan were all killed by the crazy Firecloud Sparrow clan. At this moment, in the Sea of Fire of the Phoenix dynasty, more than 10 elders stood respectfully in front of an old woman and said loudly. The old woman wore a fiery red robe, wore a crown on her head, and held a fiery red staff in her hand. She quietly looked at the information in front of her. I didn't expect such an ending. The fate of the Firecloud Sparrow clan is really good. After a few minutes of silence, the old woman slowly spoke. Send someone to investigate the background of that mysterious young Master Wang. She pondered for a moment before continuing. It's the patriarch. The dozen or so people in front immediately responded respectfully. Prepare the palanquin. I'm going to the Phoenix Palace. After another few minutes of silence, the old woman spoke. Patriarch, are you going to enter the palace for an audience? An old man asked in puzzlement. The disciples of our sacred fire clan can't die in vain. His Majesty the Emperor has invited them to return to the Phoenix dynasty. Since they don't agree, then they are no longer people of our Phoenix dynasty. Killing the soldiers of our Phoenix dynasty's sacred fire corps requires a price. The old woman slowly stood up as she spoke. Outside, a luxurious carriage pulled by a soaring phosphorescent beast flew over quickly. 3 half-step longevity soaring phosphorescent beasts pulled the carriage. When the old woman boarded the carriage, they quickly flew toward the Phoenix Palace of the Phoenix dynasty. The owner of the Phoenix Palace was the current second emperor of the Phoenix dynasty. The first great empress uncle had once used his own bloodline to help the great empress strengthen her bloodline, causing her bloodline to be infinitely close to the Fire Phoenix bloodline. After the empress fell from grace, he ascended to the throne and became the emperor of the Phoenix dynasty. After ascending to the throne, his strength skyrocketed. He had already reached rank 4 longevity more than 1,000 years ago. During these 1,000 years, Emperor Phoenix had roped in everyone and firmly held the entire Phoenix dynasty in his hands. The Phoenix dynasty's empress had already become history in the entire empire. Chapter 1691. 1691 Sea of Transcendence. Ding! Congratulations to host for achieving a breakthrough in your level. As you have comprehended the strongest aspect of light and darkness, Yin and Yang, the 2 extremes of Yin and Yang have been further strengthened. The dragon head has been strengthened. Ding! Congratulations to host for strengthening the dragon head with Yin and Yang extremes. The dragon head has been strengthened under the heavens. Name, Wang Xian. Race, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon, Mandragon Unity. Level, Void Interpretation Level 7, Divine Dragon Transformation Level 3. Dragon Crystal, 1321233. 1127664 billion. Supernatural ability. Ruling the water race. Ruling the water race below one's own level. Devouring creatures. Devouring creatures to extract dragon crystals. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method. Divine dragon transformation. Supernatural ability. Soul absorbing, spirit attaching. Yin-Yang 5 elements dragon eyes. Aspect. 5 elements millstone. Dragon kingdom in the palm. Dragon head under the sky. Dragon body of 10,000 miles. Yin-Yang poles. Yin-Yang 5 elements alms bowl. Divine dragon tail swing. Dragon Palace, Level 3. Dragon Palace members, 20133. Phew, I've leveled up another level. At this moment Wang Xian, who was in the life and death herb garden, smiled as he felt the powerful strength coming from his body. After Mo Sha brought all the elixirs and spiritual herbs from the Firelark clan, and the resources in the Holy Item Forging Workshop, he had leveled up to the 7th level of the See-Through Realm. The 7th level of the See-Through Realm possessed the combat strength of the 2nd level of the Longevity Realm. His strength had once again received a huge boost. Next, I will search for a secret place in the Sea of Transcendence. Coming to the Central Continent region by myself can be considered a complete success. A smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. With a move of his body, he arrived at the highest point of the castle in the Life and Death Herb Garden. He scanned his surroundings. Mo Sha was squatting at the bottom and absorbing all kinds of spiritual herbs and elixirs in a frenzy. His strength had already risen to the 2nd level of longevity and was still increasing at a terrifying speed. In 7 to 8 months at most, his strength would reach the terrifying 4th level of longevity. Let's go to the Sea of Transcendence and take a look. Wang Xian looked towards the north of the river in the Life and Death Herb Garden. At the end of the river was the extraordinary sea, the largest ocean in the extraordinary continent. It was also the territory of the master of the extraordinary continent. Wang Xian moved his body and teleported a distance of 400 kilometers. The surrounding area of the life and death herb garden was a grassland with a radius of tens of thousands of kilometers. There was nothing for him to investigate. After more than 10 consecutive teleportations, an incomparably huge ocean appeared in Wang Xian's line of sight. At a glance, the entire ocean gave off a majestic and vast feeling. The waves were a few hundred meters high. Other than the seabirds in the sky, there were no other ships in the entire ocean. The ocean was the territory of the dragon race. Even if it was the 5 great empires, they could not sail in the ocean without the consent of the dragon race. Yin-yang and 5 elements dragon eyes. Wang Xian's pupils contracted slightly. His yin-yang and 5 elements dragon eyes swept forward. A radius of 400 kilometers appeared clearly in his mind. Wang Xian transformed into a divine dragon and entered the vast extraordinary sea. His body swayed as the dragon swam in the sea. The beautiful seabed appeared in his sight. Wang Xian's body swam rapidly. There are some sea beasts over there. Wang Xian looked ahead and saw a group of sea beasts wandering at the bottom of the sea. He charged forward directly. The powerful dragons might cause the sea beasts to float in the sea in fear and worship Wang Xian. As the divine dragon of the master of the sea, the king of the sea, any demonic beast that was lower than Wang Xian in realm did not dare to make a move upon sensing his strength. In fact, Wang Xian was now able to rule all marine creatures below the 7th level of the see-through realm. Even if there was a divine dragon, it would still be under Wang Xian's control under his draconic aura. He continued flying forward. All kinds of creatures were densely packed in the entire extraordinary sea. There were gigantic sea beasts and all kinds of seaweed. As he was near the sea, the level of the sea beasts was not very high. Wang Xian was in a good mood as he swam freely in the extraordinary sea with so many sea beasts. He continued flying forward. In less than half an hour, Wang Xian had flown tens of thousands of kilometers under the sea. When he reached the depths, void interpretation level demonic beasts and ferocious beasts would occasionally appear. With a glance, he could see a few of them. The strength of the creatures in the extraordinary sea was somewhat beyond his expectations. If I were to move the Dragon Palace into the extraordinary sea, the resources and ferocious beasts here would be sufficient for the Dragon Palace to achieve a terrifying increase in strength. Wang Xian thought to himself. After swimming for more than 50,000 kilometers, he did not encounter any powerful demonic beast species. The Dragon Palace could definitely move to the region near the sea. From the position near the sea, he slowly moved towards the inland sea. What's ahead? Just as Wang Xian continued to swim for more than 1,000 kilometers, numerous underwater peaks appeared in his line of sight. There were hundreds of mountains, with a depth of 10,000 meters. There was a huge hole in each of the peaks. Clearly it was a nest. Around the mountains, there were demonic beasts that were as big as 2 meters and looked around like seahorses. The entire mountain range seemed to be the domain of a demonic beast. He hesitated for a moment before moving his body and flying directly towards the mountain range. Which demonic beast dares to trespass the territory of the Alistair Dragon King? When Wang Xian flew over, the patrolling seahorse demonic beasts flew over one after another. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent as they stared at Wang Xian. Dragon King Alistair? Wang Xian was slightly stunned when he heard the words of the beasts. Soon after, his eyes lit up. His body shook, and his dragon might enveloped more than 10 seahorse beasts. A strong pressure made them submit instantly. Is Dragon King Alistair a member of the Dragon Clan? Wang Xian asked curiously. Yes, he is the king. Dragon King Alistair is a member of the Great Dragon Clan. It is said that he was expelled from the Dragon Clan for committing a crime. The 15 demonic beasts knelt in the ocean and spoke respectfully to Wang Xian. They were all demonic beasts at the 3rd level of the Void Interpretation realm, and could be easily ruled by Wang Xian. How strong is Dragon King Alstoy? Wang Xian was filled with interest as he looked at the largest mountain peak in the middle of the mountains. His eyes were sparkling. Half-step longevity. Dragon King Alstoy has the strength of a half-step longevity realm. His powerful physical body is extremely terrifying. The 15 demonic beasts answered respectfully. Half-step longevity? Bring me there. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. The owner of the supernatural continent. The most powerful creature on the supernatural continent. Wang Xian had never seen it before. This time, he was able to see the difference between the dragon race on the supernatural continent and the divine dragon race. Yes, my king. The 15 sea-scaled horse demon beasts immediately led Wang Xian into the cave. Wang Xian glanced at the cave entrance in the mountain peak. There were sea-scaled horse demon beasts living inside. Sea-scaled horse demon beasts were of the 9th level of the void interpretation stage. However, in the face of the powerful dragon race, they could only serve as subordinates, even if the other party was a dragon king who had been expelled by the dragon race. Dragon King Alistair is inside. A group of sea-scaled horse demon beasts brought Wang Xian to the center of the cave. They pointed at the entrance of the cave and said, Chapter 1692. 1692 The Invincible Dragon Race of 1692. Roar! Who is disturbing my Dragon King's slumber? The bottom of the extraordinary sea was located in the middle of a mountain peak, at the bottom of the sea. It was the largest mountain peak. When Wang Xian and the rest flew over, a majestic and cold voice came from the cave in the mountain peak. What happened? Who dares to disturb Sir Dragon King Alistair? At this moment, from the surrounding mountain peaks, a 5 to 6 meter sized sea-scale horse demonic beast flew out from the cave. When they saw Wang Xian's figure, their eyes were filled with murderous intent as they stared at him. Who is disturbing me? At the entrance of the cave on the central mountain peak, a slender neck and head stretched out. It looked like a lizard's head with black scales on its neck. The entire head and neck were about 5 meters in size. Its cold eyes were like poisonous snakes, devoid of any emotion. It stared at Wang Xian disdainfully and sized up his body. All of a sudden, a hint of greed appeared in the eyes of the Dragon King of Altair. He stared at Wang Xian's body and had a desire to devour him. I'm hungry, I can eat you. He was slightly shocked and 2 huge wings slowly extended out. The 2 wings were about 10 meters in size and had a slightly bloated body. He stared at Wang Xian. From this creature, the Dragon King could feel a desire from his bloodline. He longed to devour the creature in front of him. Moreover, he had a premonition that if he devoured the creature in front of him, he would be able to evolve. This made his cold and emotionless eyes reveal a hint of fervor. Dragon King, we will help you kill him. Just as the Dragon King finished speaking, a dozen sea-scale horses at the 7th to 9th level of the void interpretation realm immediately shouted loudly. Their mouths opened slightly, and terrifying water elemental attacks were brewing. Is this the dragon race of the supernatural continent? While the Dragon King was sizing up Wang Xian was also sizing him up. Wind Elemental Asian Dragon. Half-step longevity. Extractable Divine Crystal 01. Wang Xian was astonished when the attributes of the Dragon King appeared in his mind. Divine Crystal? This is an energy that is higher than the Dragon Crystal. When one's realm reaches the realm of longevity, the Dragon Crystal will be converted into Divine Crystal. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. The level of the bloodline of this Wind Elemental Asian Dragon was not low. Even if it was placed in the universe, it was considered to be a medium-level bloodline. They had the opportunity to ignite the divine fire, condense the divine spark, and establish the divine kingdom. As expected of the master of the supernatural continent, the strongest race, he thought to himself. Reckless creatures, since they dare to disturb the Dragon King's slumber, they shall become the Dragon King's food. In the surroundings, a group of sea-scale horse demonic beasts attacked Wang Xian directly with water swords. Dragon King Alistair raised his head high and came out of the cave. His dragon tail, which was more than 10 meters long, was swaying. He stared at Wang Xian from above and opened his ghastly mouth. The mucus was flowing inside, and he was prepared to devour the creature in front of him that made his blood throb. "You're courting death." When Wang Xian saw more than a dozen sea-scale horses attacking him, he waved his dragon claw gently, and the water sword collapsed. Their bodies flew directly into his mouth. "No, Dragon King, save us." Sensing an invincible force, more than a dozen sea-scaled horses roared in fear. "What?" The cold-blooded pupils of Dragon King Alistair contracted slightly. His eyes were filled with shock. Gulp. Wang Xian opened his dragon mouth and swallowed the sea-scaled horse demonic beasts directly. It was unknown where this group of demonic beasts got their confidence from. His body had already reached 500 meters, and they actually dared to attack him. He looked at the Dragon King in front of him mockingly. With a wave of his dragon claws, a terrifying suction force was sucked toward him. "Longevity, you are a longevity-level creature." "Stop, I, Dragon King of the Dragon Clan, am the Dragon King of the Dragon Clan. If you dare to kill me, the entire Dragon Clan will not let you off. You will have no place to stand on the extraordinary continent." Dragon King Alstoy's expression changed slightly as he felt the powerful suction force. However, there was no fear in his eyes. He continued to shout coldly, as expected of the master of the entire continent. Such arrogance. Wang Xian looked at Dragon King Alstoy's arrogant manner, and a hint of coldness appeared on his face. "Soul Catcher." He waved his cold eyes and used Soul Catcher directly. Buzz. A terrifying energy invaded the mind of the Dragon King of Alstoy. The Dragon King of Alstoy's face stiffened, and his eyes revealed a look of horror. He stared at Wang Xian in disbelief. He was a well-known dragon from the extraordinary mainland. Someone actually dared to kill him. Dragon race. When Wang Xian retrieved all of Alstoy's memories, he spat out 2 words softly. He sat quietly at the bottom of the sea, digesting the memories of Dragon King Alstoy. Alstoy, the disciple of the dragon race's water race, and the Dragon King of the dragon race, was expelled for killing a disciple of the dragon race. In the dragon race there were 3 races: the water dragon race, the wind dragon race, and the fire dragon race. When the 3 races reached the half-step longevity realm, they could be called the Dragon King. From the 1st stage to the 5th stage of longevity, they could be called the Dragon Emperor. Above the 5th stage of longevity, they could be called the Dragon Emperor. In the Dragon Clan, according to Alstoy's memories, there was a dragon god, but this dragon god did not seem to have truly reached the mirror of God. In the entire Dragon Clan, there were more than 10,000 Dragon Kings. Above the Dragon King, there were no less than 5,000 longevity-level dragons. In the entire extraordinary continent, all the demon beast races had to obey the orders of the dragon race. Even a few of the longevity-level demon beast races. As for the fierce beasts, under the powerful pressure of the dragon race, they could be controlled directly. In other words, in the entire extraordinary sea, hundreds of thousands of demon beast fierce beasts, at the profound void level, were all subordinates of the dragon race. Phew! Time passed slowly. As the Dragon King who had lived for more than 6,000 years, he had a lot of memories. 2 days later, Wang Xian took a deep breath. There was a hint of shock and silence in his eyes. There are more than 5,000 members of the Dragon Clan who are above the longevity realm. There are more than 10,000 of them who are half a step away from the longevity realm. This strength is really terrifying. No wonder the Dragon Clan is known as the master of the continent. They are an invincible existence. No wonder Alistair was not afraid when he faced himself. Wang Xian was very surprised. There were about 100,000 members of the dragon race. They were born with the strength of a level 9 extraordinary. After they were in their 50s, they possessed the strength of a level 4 profound void martial artist. Just thinking about it was terrifying. According to what he knew, there were less than 100 longevity experts in the entire 5 empires combined. How terrifying, how terrifying. The extraordinary continent, the invincible dragon race. Chapter 1693. 1693 Hunting the Dragon Clan. Wang Xian was shocked as he digested the information in his mind. A solemn expression appeared on his face. Invincible. It was the best description for the Dragon Clan. However, this is what makes it interesting. Wang Xian's eyes were burning with a strong fighting spirit. His pair of dragon eyes stared sternly at the unconscious Alistair Dragon King in front of him. He opened his dragon mouth and swallowed Alistair into his stomach. Ding! Devour the half-step eternal dragon. Raise the divine crystal 0-1. A surge of majestic energy rapidly entered his body, and the divine crystal transformed into the dragon crystal. When Wang Xian saw that the dragon crystal had increased by 1%, he revealed a shocked expression. It increased by 1% directly. Doesn't that mean that I only need 100 Dragon Kings to increase my strength? I can even increase my strength by devouring a few Dragon Emperors of the first level of longevity. Wang Xian revealed a shocked expression. He pursed his lips and his dragon eyes flickered. The dragons of the supernatural continent possessed the bloodline of the divine dragon and belonged to the level of dragon species. However, the level of their dragon species was not very high. There was also a huge amount of energy in their bodies. Wang Xian was only at level 7 of the see-through realm. It was not strange for him to be able to level up after devouring 100 half-step long-lived dragons. Before I reach level 4 in the Dragon Palace, I must not enter the Sea of Extraordinariness. In addition, I can hunt dragons in the Sea of Extraordinariness. As long as I kill 100 Dragon Kings, I can level up. If I kill 1,000 of them, I can level up again. Wang Xian found a way to level up quickly. This was similar to when Wang Xian first obtained the system. He was weak and could level up by devouring some small fish. Now that he had entered the Sea of Transcendence, he had the same feeling. He could level up by devouring some dragons. So what if they are the invincible races of the continent? As long as I don't encounter the powerful Dragon Emperor and the Dragon King, the dragons won't know that they are the ones who did it. As the saying goes, fortune comes from danger. Wang Xian gritted his teeth and decided to hunt down the dragons. According to the memories of Dragon King Alistair, there is a Dragon King of the dragons tens of thousands of kilometers ahead. Wang Xian thought to himself. He swayed his 500-meter-long body and flew straight ahead. The dragon eyes of the yin-yang and 5 elements swept across. In an instant he was already 400 kilometers away. Following that he flashed continuously. The distance of tens of thousands of kilometers was not very far. After entering the territory of another Dragon King, Wang Xian stared straight ahead. Hurry up, you bunch of slaves. Hurry up and prepare the food for Dragon King Akele. In front of them was an island. On the island, a group of demonic beasts were roaring at the humans. Every human's eyes were filled with fear. Among them, there were some brutal demonic beasts who were chewing on human corpses and staring at them. This Dragon King sure knows how to enjoy himself. To think that there are more than 100,000 humans serving him. Wang Xian looked down. Beside the island was a volcano. A figure of more than 20 meters was entrenched on it. Majestic, powerful, and inviolable. Buzz! Wang Xian teleported and appeared beside the fire dragon. Under his astonished gaze, Wang Xian waved his arm and performed soul capture. Following that, he didn't digest his memory and devoured it directly. At the same time, the powerful dragon's aura covered an area of 400 kilometers. The terrifying aura instantly caused the demonic beasts and humans on the island to kneel down in fear. It's the Dragon King who is angry. Damn humans, hurry up and prepare the food. A type of crocodile-like demonic beast opened its huge mouth and roared with cold eyes. However, at this moment a force instantly covered them. All the demonic beasts stiffened and were directly dragged into the ocean, flying towards Wang Xian. Roar! Wang Xian growled in a low voice and devoured all the demonic beasts. Following that, he moved and teleported to a place 400 kilometers away. As for the humans on the island, they were able to escape without demonic beasts. Entrenched at the bottom of the sea for tens of thousands of meters, he quietly absorbed the memories of this Dragon King. A day later, he stood up slowly and continued to fly towards the depths. The dragon race was a type of creature with high intelligence. Their intelligence was not weaker than that of humans, and they were considered to be living in groups. Through the memories of this Dragon King, he obtained the location of a few more Dragon Kings. Furthermore, the dragons had a hobby. They liked to collect high-grade materials and spiritual herbs. Every dragon lair had a lot of treasures. To Wuxia, this was an additional huge harvest. Through this method, Wuxia quietly devoured one Dragon King after another, as well as the dragons who were below the age of 10,000 years. However, he was very careful during the process of devouring. He first absorbed the memories before devouring them. This was to prevent any unexpected situations from occurring. With the current strength of the dragons, it was a piece of cake for them to destroy his dragon palace. Through this method, Wuxia traveled for several million kilometers in the extraordinary sea in 5 months. In 5 months, he had killed a total of 80 Dragon Kings. There were more than 200 dragons below the Dragon King. He was only 1/10 of the distance to level up. I have basically killed all the weaker dragons in the outer area. In my memory, there are a few places where the dragons live in groups. There are more than 20 dragons there. Wuxia sat at the bottom of the sea with a contemplative look on his face. The places where he was currently hunting the dragons were far away from the Dragon Sea. The Dragon Sea was the lair of the dragons. Once he was discovered after his failed hunt, he might be surrounded by thousands of strong dragons within minutes. He did not dare to go to the Dragon Sea, let alone the Dragon Valley within the Dragon Sea. However, other than the Dragon Sea, there were 2 places within a radius of hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from him. These 2 places belonged to the paradise. It might be comparable to the life and death herb garden. However, there were dragons at the level of a dragon emperor in both places. As for the level of longevity, there was no such information in the memories he obtained. I should go and take a look. With my speed, even if I can't beat him, I can still escape in time. Wuxia thought to himself as he flew towards the left. There was a crystal sea with crystal algae growing on the bottom of the sea. Crystal algae could reach the realm of longevity when it matured. It was an extremely precious spiritual herb. According to the memories in his mind, there were more than 20 dragons and a half-step to longevity demonic beast race there. There were thousands of such demonic beasts in the crystal sea. Soon, an area that was emitting white light appeared. The white light came from the bottom of the sea, where the crystal algae grew. Each crystal algae was more than 10 meters in size, and the one in the center was emitting milky white light. If it was on the main road, it would definitely be a place that the Empire would fight for. But this was the territory of the dragon race, and no empire would dare to set foot in it. Chapter 1694. 1694 Breakthrough and Serious Injury. The white light shone on the bottom of the sea. The sea water rippled under the white light like crystals. The name of the crystal sea came from this. In the center of the crystal sea, there were crystal-like houses standing on the bottom of the sea. Each crystal house was huge. Looking from afar, it looked like a world in mythology. The house was not made of crystal. Instead, it was a house made of ice. Under the illumination of the crystal algae, it looked like a crystal house. Inside these crystal houses, there were numerous water elemental dragons. In the middle of the crystal house that was 1,000 meters in size, there were 2 dragons living inside. One male and one female. Around them were the descendants of these 2 dragons. Wuxia's gaze swept across the crystal sea that was about 50 kilometers in circumference. His eyes revealed a look of vigilance. Around the crystal sea, there were many cup vertebrate fish dragons guarding the surroundings. In fact, it was not considered a warning. In the Sea of Transcendence, no one dared to provoke the dragons. There are 5 cup vertebrate fish dragons that are half a step away from longevity, and 13 dragons that are at the level of Dragon King. I don't know the strength of the two naked dragons in the crystal house. That's right, they were two naked dragons. They had transformed into human form and looked ordinary. They had two dragon horns that were about 10 centimeters long and a dragon tail that was more than 1 meter long. One male and one female were hugging each other. When a demonic beast reached the realm of Wuxia, they would have the ability to transform. As for what they were doing, the pure Wuxia had no idea. Wuxia moved his body and attacked the surrounding cup vertebrate ichthyosaurs. With the strength of level 2 of longevity, it was easy for him to kill a bunch of demon beasts below longevity. Within a few seconds, Wuxia devoured all the demon beasts. His body moved, and his gaze landed on the crystal houses. After devouring these dragons, I will be able to break through. These crystal algae will belong to me. Wuxia's eyes sparkled. He swept his gaze across the crystal house in the middle and entered the crystal house at the outermost corner. Who dares to step into my territory? Just as Wuxia teleported into the area of the crystal algae, the muscular male dragon emperor in the middle of the room instantly sensed that someone had barged in. The moment Wuxia entered the room, he knew that he had been discovered. That was because there was a domain covering this area. The domain of the longevity experts was very magical. When the domain was activated, even a mosquito could sense it. Who are the dragons? A cold voice continued to ring out. The two dragon emperors hovered above the crystal house and stared at Wuxia. When they saw Wuxia's figure, they were slightly stunned. His 500-meter-tall body, mystical dragon scales, and majestic physique surprised them. However, what surprised them was the excitement that came from his bloodline. Eat him, eat him. The two dragon emperors looked at each other and turned into a 30-meter-long water dragon. How dare you trespass into my territory? I order you to kneel down. The male water dragon emperor's cold voice entered Wuxia's ears. At this moment, a smile appeared on Wuxia's face. The arrogant dragon race was just as he had expected. After he arrived, the other party didn't take him seriously at all. Roar! Roar! At this moment, dragon race members flew over from the surrounding crystal houses. Two people at the first level of longevity dare to be so arrogant. Wuxia moved his body. Without any hesitation, he attacked them directly. You dare to attack us? You bastard, how dare you attack us? When the two dragon emperors saw that Wuxia was attacking them directly, fury shot out from their eyes. The surrounding seawater began to churn. You arrogant thing, go to hell. Wuxia's eyes revealed a cold expression. His terrifying dragon claws attacked the two of them directly. Due to the suppression of their strength, the two dragon emperors did not have the time to react at all. They were directly pierced into their bodies by the dragon claws. Wuxia opened his huge mouth and devoured them directly. How dare you devour our parents? How dare you kill US dragons, even if it means going through heaven and earth? The more than 20 dragons in the surroundings looked terrified when they saw this scene. One of the dragon kings roared loudly. To the dragons, no one on this continent dared to make a move against them. No one dared to provoke them. This had been the case for hundreds of thousands of years. The arrogance and superiority that had seeped deep into their bones made it impossible for them to imagine that there would actually be a creature that dared to kill them. One had to know that in the history of the dragon clan, once someone dared to provoke them, the entire race of the other party would be destroyed. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, there was a dragon emperor who took a fancy to the woman of the emperor of the empire and defiled her. In the end, the angry emperor killed her. 3 days later, tens of billions of people in the entire empire died. This was the dignity and tyranny of the dragon race. From then on, no one dared to provoke them. Wuxia knew about this history through Soul Catcher. Therefore, he didn't have any mental obstacles in hunting the dragon race. His essence was to be both a divine dragon and a human. Roar! Wuxia let out a low roar and swallowed the two dragon emperors directly. He looked at the terrified members of the dragon race and moved his body to swallow them all. Ding! Congratulations to host for achieving a breakthrough in your level. As you have comprehended the strongest aspect of light and darkness, yin and yang. The two extremes of yin and yang have been further strengthened. Your dragon body has been strengthened. Ding! Congratulations to host for strengthening the dragon god with the two extremes of yin and yang. Your dragon body has been strengthened. Name Wuxia. Race, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon, Mandragon Unity. Level 8 of the Void Interpretation Stage, third form of the Divine Dragon Transformation. Dragon Crystal, 13231233, 112764 billion. Divine Ability, Ruling the Water Race below its own level. Devouring creatures to extract dragon crystals. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method, Divine Dragon Transformation. Divine Ability, Soul Absorbing Spirit Attaching, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Dragon Eyes. Aspect, 5 Elements Millstone, Dragon Kingdom in the Palm, Dragon Head Under the Sky, Dragon Body of 10,000 Miles, Yin-Yang Poles, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Alms Bowl, Divine Dragon Tail Swing. Dragon Palace, Level 3. Dragon Palace members, 20133. When he devoured all the dragons, the system's voice sounded, and his body expanded rapidly. His body, which was originally 500 meters long, expanded to 800 meters long. The yin and yang poles on the dragon body flickered faintly. Roar! The powerful force made him let out a low roar. Phew! I broke through again in less than half a year. This speed is too fast. Wuxia's eyes were filled with excitement. He could easily kill a dragon that was as powerful as the Lord of the Continent. This made Wuxia excited about his next upgrade. The dragon race has become my energy to upgrade my level. Wuxia revealed a confident expression. His gaze swept across the crystal algae below, and his eyes flashed with heat. He swallowed all the mature crystal algae and kept the rest into his acceptance spiritual bag. At this moment, his acceptance spiritual bag was filled with immature spirit trees and spiritual herbs. He could plant them in the dragon palace when he returned. Chapter 1695. 1695 was in the midst of a breakthrough and was severely injured. Let's go to the Sea of Flames. Wuxia looted all the treasures in the entire Crystal Sea. In the crystal houses of the 2 dragon emperors, Wuxia even found quite a number of longevity-level materials. He moved his body and flew directly in the direction of the Sea of Flames. The Mountain of Flames was at the bottom of the Sea of Flames. There was an incomparably huge mountain of flames. The flaming mountain did not erupt. There were dozens of fire dragons there. If the Crystal Sea here could be compared to the Life and Death Herb Garden, the Flaming Sea could be compared to the Weapon Peak. It was even rarer than the Weapon Peak. Paradise. On the continent, the resources controlled by hundreds of billions of humans are not as much as the resources controlled by hundreds of thousands of dragons. This is the reason why the dragons are so powerful. Wuxia thought to himself. When he first received the information about the dragons, Wuxia was still very shocked. Now the strength of the dragons made him very happy. The stronger they were, the faster his strength would increase. In just half a year, he would be able to increase by 1 level. He would have the strength of a level 3 longevity warrior. In a year, he might be able to increase by another level. In 3 to 5 years, he might be able to have the strength of a level 8 or 9 longevity warrior. Wuxia thought happily as he flew towards the Sea of Flames. His speed was very fast. With the addition of teleportation, he arrived at the area of the Sea of Flames after more than 10 hours. There was a gigantic volcano standing at the bottom of the sea. From afar, the entire sea was extremely red. The volcano covered an area of 40 to 50 kilometers. Above the volcano, there was an entrance. The surroundings were surrounded by flaming 2-headed turtles, 2 flaming heads, and a 7 to 8 meter long heavy turtle shell on their back. It looked like it was about to explode. The flaming 2-headed turtle is only a demonic beast with a level 8 see-through bloodline. It seems like the strength of the dragons in the volcano should be about the same as the ones in the Crystal Sea. Wang Xian stared at his surroundings with his yin-yang fire dragon eyes. He could not see through the interior of the volcano due to the terrifying flames. Let's go in. He swept his gaze across the flaming two-headed turtle in his surroundings. He swayed his huge body and flew over to devour them one by one. The flaming two-headed turtle with a level 8 see-through bloodline was no longer able to resist him. It didn't even let out a scream. After devouring it, Wang Xian immediately flew toward the entrance of the flaming mountain. He floated to the entrance and looked down. A space with a radius of 40 to 50 kilometers appeared in his line of sight. Inside, the boiling flame lava emitted an extremely terrifying temperature. More than a dozen fire dragons were swimming inside. In the depths of the flaming mountain, there were a few huge figures. You can die now. Wang Xian swayed his huge figure and entered the interior of the flaming mountain. In the flame lava, more than 10 Dragon Clan members at the see-through level saw Wang Xian flying over and immediately looked up. What kind of creature is this? A Dragon Clan member looked at Wang Xian's huge body and revealed a surprised expression. I don't know. With such a huge body, it's not bad to be our mount. A dragon beside him said faintly. They were not afraid of Wang Xian at all. Hee. When Wang Xian heard their discussion, a look of amusement appeared in his eyes. The dragons from the Transcendence continent had been invincible for too long. Boom! His body accelerated abruptly. His huge dragon mouth started to swallow the dragons one by one. With a body size of 800 meters, his mouth was even bigger than theirs. With one mouth he devoured more than a dozen dragons. Despicable creatures, how dare you eat our dragon disciples? A furious voice came from below. It was as if the entire volcano was about to erupt. Boom, boom, boom. The explosive lava shot out in all directions. One by one, bodies emitting a terrifying aura flew out from the lava. What a terrifying aura. Wang Xian was stunned for a moment. His pupils contracted slightly as he stared at the dozen or so dragons that flew out. The 3 dragons in the middle were the largest. They had a huge body of 50 meters and a pair of flaming wings that were 100 meters long. There are 2 at the 3rd level of longevity, 5 at the 2nd level of longevity, and the rest are all at the 1st level of longevity. Wang Xian felt waves of terrifying aura and revealed a surprised expression. I was a little careless. He initially thought that the members of the dragon race here were similar to the ones in the Crystal Sea. He did not expect the difference to be so huge. There were actually 2 people at level 3 of longevity, and 5 people at level 2 of longevity. The rest were also at level 1 of longevity. However, I can deal with them. If I devour all of them, I can accumulate at least half of the dragon crystals. Wang Xian's eyes were burning hot, and his entire body was filled with fighting spirit. Bastard! How dare you kill my dragon disciples? I will tear you into pieces. All the members of the dragon race stared at Wang Xian, and their eyes were filled with brutality. Feeling the attraction from his bloodline, the more than 10 members of the dragon race became even more violent. Roar, I want to eat you. In an instant, a dragon of the 3rd level of longevity charged directly at Wang Xian. The exploding flames and his extremely cold eyes gave Wang Xian a slight shock. Boom! 5 elements millstone, yin and yang poles. Wang Xian roared loudly. The 5 elements millstone and yin and yang taiji appeared above and below him, covering the entire volcano. Level 3 longevity. No wonder you dared to devour the members of my dragon race. However, my dragon race is the strongest race. Go to hell, you lowly creature. Explosive flame domain. The ferocious dragon race powerhouse who flew over felt the pressure from the 5 elements millstone and the yin and yang poles. His expression changed slightly. However, a sinister look appeared in his eyes. The dragon race was powerful not only because they had many powerhouses. No creature of the same level was their match. Kill this reckless creature, and let them know the consequences of provoking the dragon race. In the lava, Another dragon who was at level 3 of longevity let out a loud roar. He flapped his huge wings and attacked Wuxia directly. Explosive flame domain. Explosive flame domain. A series of violent voices came out from the mouths of the dragons. They flapped their huge wings and attacked Wuxia directly. What? Feeling the suppression of the domains, Wuxia was slightly shocked. Explosive fire pillar. The level 3 dragon, who was the first to charge over, spat out a fire pillar from his mouth. The fire pillar shot towards Wuxia, who was 10,000 meters above the ground. Roar extinguish. Wuxia opened his mouth and gray flames shot out from his mouth to meet the explosive fire pillar. Boom! Boom! The gray flames were like ice, extinguishing the explosive fire pillar. What? You can actually block my explosive fire pillar. Seeing that his attack was blocked, the level 3 longevity dragon was shocked. He widened his eyes and roared. Fire dragon wings. His 2 gigantic dragon wings stirred up the sky-high flames and continued to charge toward Wuxia's gray flames. The fire dragon wings dissipated, and so did Wuxia's attack. Upon seeing this scene, Wuxia frowned with a serious expression on his face. Chapter 1696. 1696 had a breakthrough and was severely injured. He was in trouble. At this moment, Wuxia knew that he had been careless. Perhaps it was because he had been leveling up rapidly during this period of time that made him feel proud. Ever since he came to the volcanic sea, he had never placed the dragons here in his eyes. Even when he saw the 2 dragon clan powerhouses, who were at level 3 of longevity, he still did not place them in his heart. That was because based on his strength, he was at level 8 of the see-through void tier, and had the combat strength of level 3 of longevity. Moreover, he could at least fight against 4 opponents of the same level, within level 3 of longevity. However, this was for other creatures and didn't include the dragon clan powerhouses. After a collision, Wuxia completely realized the strength of the dragon clan. It wasn't because they controlled a lot of resources, but because of their own strength. A dragon could at least deal with 2 humans of the same level. Compared to the members of the Dragon Palace, they were only slightly weaker. With his current strength, he could only fight 2 rank 3 Wansho dragon experts. However, in this flaming mountain, it was the home of the dragon race. It was very difficult for him to kill 2 rank 3 Wansho dragon experts in this war. Roar! Kill this despicable creature, and eat his flesh and blood. At the lower position, another dragon emperor, who was at level 3 of longevity, let out a wild roar. He flapped his huge wings and charged over. The other 5 dragon emperors who were at level 2 of longevity followed closely behind him, and attacked Wuxia without any fear. The fire dragon wings flapped and huge dragon wings covered Wuxia completely. Yin and Yang poles. Wuxia waved his dragon claws. Numerous yin and yang patterns appeared around his body to fend off the attacks of the dragon wings of the fire dragon. Flaming rocks. The level 3 dragon emperor of longevity, who had just started his attack, wagged his tail. A fiery red glow fell into the lava and stirred. The densely packed flaming rocks attacked Wuxia directly. The volcano within a radius of tens of kilometers had turned into a terrifying battlefield. Bang! 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 The attacks landed on the yin-yang taiji diagram, causing the entire diagram to tremble rapidly. Crack! 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 Soon cracks appeared on the taiji diagram. Wuxia's eyes revealed a serious expression. Dragon kingdom in the palm. Dragon head under the heavens. Dragon body of 10,000 miles. Divine dragon swishing its tail. He roared 4 times in a row. His entire dragon body expanded at a terrifying speed. A terrifying creature that was at least 20,000 meters long filled the entire volcano. The gigantic volcano was instead like a small house. Roar! What kind of creature is this? How can it be so terrifying? Heaven and earth species. It's definitely a heaven and earth species. There's a desire in my bloodline. If we devour it, it will be very beneficial to us. A dragon emperor of level 3 longevity stared at Wang Xian in shock as he roared loudly. We dragons are invincible. So what if they are heaven and earth mutants? In front of the mighty dragon race, we can only die. Devour them. Another dragon emperor of level 3 longevity was filled with violent killing intent as he roared loudly. Roar! 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 The surrounding level 2 and level 1 dragon emperors of longevity responded with roars. Roar! 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 More than 10 dragon emperors of the dragon clan roared into the sky at the same time. The entire volcano began to boil. Explosive flame domain explode! Explosive flame domain explode! All the dragon emperors roared loudly. The entire volcano erupted completely. Lava gushed out from the bottom of the sea and filled the entire space. Bang! Wang Xian raised his gigantic dragon claws and attacked the dozen dragon emperors directly. Ah! The terrifying dragon claws swept across, and the 3 dragon emperors, who were at the first level of longevity, let out miserable cries. The terrifying physical strength and the power of the yin and yang 5 elements made the 3 dragon emperors, who were at the first level of longevity, not have the strength to resist at all. They died immediately after being hit by one strike. Kill the experts of my dragon race. After today, my dragon race will definitely chase you to the ends of the earth. The 2 dragon emperors, who were at the 3rd level of longevity, roared furiously when they saw the 3 experts of their race who died instantly. There is no one in the entire Transcendence continent that our dragon race cannot kill. My dragon race will betray you and die. The furious roar came from the dragon emperor's mouth. Wang Xian's expression changed slightly, and his heart was filled with hatred. If that's the case, I just need to kill all of you. A violent killing intent surged in Wang Xian's heart. The battle this time was due to his carelessness and arrogance. The mistake had already been made. If he wanted to escape now, he was afraid that the dragon race would use all their strength to destroy him. One must know that many factions knew that he had transformed into a divine dragon. Once he was targeted by the dragon tribe now, his future development would be in trouble. It would be fine if they didn't see his form. Now they could only kill all of them. I don't believe that I can't kill all of you. Yin-Yang 5 elements alms bowl. Wang Xian growled with a cold face. Almost all of his dermic forms were unleashed. The wrath of the dragon race. Below, the 2 dragon emperors, who were at the 3rd level of longevity, stared at Wang Xian. They were also filled with violent killing intent. With a loud roar, the entire volcano erupted with a loud bang. Boom! The earth shook. From the outside, one could see that the entire seabed seemed to have experienced a magnitude 10 earthquake. One had to know that this was an ocean that was 30,000 to 40,000 meters deep. Buzz! A pillar of fire that was equivalent to the power of 4 to 5 nuclear bombs charged directly at Wang Xian. Hiss! Wang Xian looked at this incomparably terrifying pillar of fire and inhaled a breath of cold air. Void! The Yin-Yang 5 elements alms bowl on his body was activated to the maximum. His entire body turned illusory. At the same time, his 2 gigantic dragon claws attacked the 2 dragon race experts around the level 3 longevity dragon emperor. What? He actually dodged this move. The 2 level 3 longevity dragon emperors were shocked when they saw the power of the volcanic eruption penetrating through Wang Xian's phantom image. Buzz! Die! Ah! Screams of pain were heard. The 2 dragons around the level 3 longevity dragon emperor were struck by Wang Xian's terrifying dragon claws. Even the level 2 longevity dragon emperor was killed in one move. 5 level 2 longevity dragon emperors were killed. The other 7 to 8 level 1 longevity dragon emperors were also killed. Wang Xian opened his huge mouth and swallowed them. Die for us, dragon race's fire scale. Dragon race's fire scale. The other 2 level 3 longevity dragon emperors saw this scene, and their eyes were extremely red. Their wings trembled and their tails swayed. Densely packed fire scales that covered a radius of dozens of kilometers charged at Wang Xian. The terrifying scene was like a meteorite falling from the sky when it landed in a city on Earth. Bang bang bang. The terrifying attacks caused the yin-yang 5 elements alms bowl to tremble. Some of the places that were hit consecutively were torn apart. 3 to 4 meters of fire scales landed on Wang Xian's body, tearing open huge wounds. Chapter 1697. 1697-1697's Desperate Battle. Crash. The fire scales landed on Wang Xian's gigantic body, that was over 20,000 meters long. Fresh blood dripped down like rain. Each fire scale could tear open a wound that was over 1,000 meters long. The instantaneous attack caused Wang Xian's body to be filled with wounds. Hiss. Feeling the immense pain from his body, Wang Xian's eyes shot out a terrifying look. The yin-yang 5 elements alms bowl actually cracked under the attacks of the 2 dragon emperors of the 3rd level of the longevity dragon tribe. The powerful Dharma idol that was almost invincible among the same level was actually broken. Go to hell. Wang Xian swung his gigantic dragon tail and attacked the 2 fire dragons directly. Fire Dragon Shield. The 2 dragon emperors roared in a violent manner. A fire dragon shield that was dozens of kilometers in size was erected to meet Wang Xian's dragon tail. Bang! 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 The terrifying collision caused cracks to appear on the fire dragon shield. 5 elements annihilation. The 5-colored radiance on Wang Xian's dragon tail flickered. The immense power and 5 elements annihilation were fluctuating. This is bad. What kind of creature is this guy? He is even more terrifying than US dragons when they are of the same level. The 2 dragon emperors were shocked. They flapped their huge wings and quickly dodged to the side. Bang! However, Wang Xian's terrifying strength landed on the 2 dragon emperors. The 2 dragon emperors were like flies as they crashed into the wall of the volcano. Their entire bodies sank into the wall. Wang Xian smiled coldly. He opened his gigantic dragon mouth and charged straight at the 2 dragon emperors. A grayish destructive force charged at the 2 dragon emperors. Ah! No matter what kind of creature you are, you will die today. The 2 dragon emperors' bodies were embedded into the volcano, and a large amount of blood flowed out of their mouths. They raised their heads at the same time, and a wave of rotating flames rushed toward the grayish destructive power. The 2 rotating fire pillars blocked the power of the 5 elements. I am the fire dragon, the flame sovereign king. The fire in the world is under my control. The flames enter my dragon body and spread my dragon flames. The 2 dragon emperors roared loudly. Rolling flames gathered on their bodies. The entire volcano seemed to be attracted by a terrifying force. Endless lava gushed out. In an instant, the bodies of the 2 dragon emperors grew hundreds of times larger. Boom! Boom! Flapping their wings, the 2 dragon emperors attacked Wang Xian's body from both sides. Wang Xian's face was solemn. His dragon claws clawed at one of the dragon emperors. The powerful dragon claws of the 5 elements and yin and yang were almost indestructible. When they landed on the dragon emperor's body, they immediately scraped off pieces of the lava. However, this did not cause much damage to them. Bang! 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 However, each of the attacks from the 2 dragon emperors landed on Wang Xian's body, tearing a wound that was thousands of meters long. 5 elements millstone. When Wang Xian saw this scene, he let out a loud roar and activated his Dharma idol, 5 elements millstone. Bang! The Dharma idol, the 5 elements millstone, used a weapon and charged straight at the 2 dragon emperors. Every time they collided, it was like a volcano erupting. The 2 dragon emperors, who were engulfed in flames, spurted out blood from their mouths. Damned creatures, damned ants. I swear that I will tear your bones and skin you alive. One of the dragon emperors roared furiously. The flaming mountain beneath him trembled. Boom! 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 A terrifying temperature was transmitted from the bottom of the flaming mountain. It was as if the entire volcano was about to erupt. Ram! Wang Xian placed his dragon claw on the 5 elements grinding Dharma idol and pressed it down heavily. Bang! 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 The 5 elements grinding Dharma idol cracked slowly. However, The flames around the two dragon emperors collapsed rapidly. Cracks even appeared on their bodies. One of the dragon emperor's wings even melted under the powerful force of the 5 elements. Explode! The two dragon emperors roared loudly. The entire volcano shook again, and the space within began to collapse. The battle between Wuxia and the rest was like a world-ending battle. The volcano collapsed. The lava rocks below were like terrifying rockets that shot straight at Wuxia. There were at least hundreds of thousands of lava rocks. Wuxia's expression changed drastically when he saw this scene. His body shrunk rapidly and soon, he was only a dozen meters in size. He quickly dodged the lava rocks one by one. However, there were too many lava rocks and they almost covered the entire sky. One of the lava rocks landed on Wuxia's body and was shattered by him. However, the densely packed lava stones caused him to spit out blood. What a powerful dragon! Wuxia's face was a little pale. His pair of dragon eyes stared fixedly at the two dragon emperors. Gritting his teeth, he pounced toward them. Circulate the 5 elements, the pinnacle of fire. Wuxia swooped down. The 5-colored radiance on his body began to transform, and eventually turned into a flaming divine dragon. It's time to fight with my physical body. Wuxia's eyes were filled with raging flames, as he circulated the flames on his body with all his might. You dare to charge at me? Go to hell! The two dragon emperors in the lava saw Wuxia dive down, and flapped their wings ferociously. The flaming wings carried the power of the volcano. The lava turned into a long spear, and pierced toward Wuxia. Suppress! The flames on Wuxia's body trembled. An invisible aura suppressed all the fire attributes in the space. What? What the hell is this monster? The two dragon emperors looked embarrassed when they saw the flames around them had completely calmed down. You think that we dragons are afraid of you when it comes to physical strength? We are the strongest existences in the entire continent. One of the dragon emperors gritted his teeth and charged towards Wuxia. His huge flaming wings emitted a deep red glow. Roar! The other dragon emperor roared and charged forward as well. They were not afraid of a physical strength competition. Bang! A collision sent them flying backward. Wuxia's expression changed. After all, he was only at the 8th level of the see-through realm. Even though the divine dragon had a terrifying physical body, his realm was too high. Furthermore, the dragons from the supernatural continent could be considered as a weak dragon. I must kill them. A terrifying killing intent shot out from Wuxia's eyes. The 5-colored light on his dragon claws flickered as light and darkness enveloped him. It was the same for his dragon head. When he unleashed his full strength, his pair of dragon horns looked extremely divine. Bang bang bang. The collision and slaughter of physical bodies was a very cruel and bloody confrontation. After a few consecutive collisions, the bodies of the two dragon emperors and Wuxia were filled with injuries. However, at this moment, Wuxia's body emitted a faint power of light, which was healing his injuries. He smiled sinisterly and continued to attack the two dragon emperors. Damn it, if this continues we will die. When the two dragon emperors saw that Wuxia was gradually recovering from his injuries, their hearts sank. Go to hell, you bunch of arrogant fellows. Wuxia flew over, waved his dragon claws, and swept his divine dragon. It was the most primitive form of physical confrontation. Chapter 1698. 1698 in 1698's fierce battle. Bang bang bang. Dull attacks rang out in the volcano. From the outside, it sounded as though the volcano was about to erupt. The dragon claws tore apart, the dragon mouth tore apart, and the dragon tail swept across. Wuxia and the two dragon emperors trembled as they collided. Fresh blood splattered everywhere. Compared to Wuxia, the two dragon emperors looked even more miserable. One of the dragon emperors had his wings melted during the battle just now, and there were more than 10 cracks on the other wing. All of them were torn apart by Wuxia. The other dragon emperor's dragon horns were all torn off by Wuxia. As for Wuxia, he was obviously much better than the two of them. If this goes on, we will be killed by this creature. Roar! We are the strongest creatures on the continent. No creature of the same level is our match. The two dragon emperors were still roaring. The appearance of Wang Xian was destroying their long-held belief in invincibility. However, if they knew that Wang Xian was only at level 8 of the see-through void tier, they didn't know if their belief would collapse completely. Detonate the volcano. One of the dragon emperors suddenly looked down and roared in embarrassment. The other dragon emperor looked hesitant. In the end, he gritted his teeth. Bang! Bang! Just as the two dragon emperors were in a daze, Wang Xian's dragon claws landed on their bodies and tore open numerous wounds. Bastard, you shall stay here today. The two dragon emperors fell into the lava with furious expressions. Their bodies rolled and flew directly into the lava. You are the ones who will stay here. Wang Xian swayed his body and flew straight down. He was still controlling his attributes to suppress the surrounding flames with all his might. Boom! The moment he entered the lava, a terrifying impact was transmitted to him, causing him to lose control of the power of the suppression of the flames. This is bad. They have detonated the volcano. They want to make the volcano erupt. Such a terrifying volcano has erupted completely. It's a completely indiscriminate attack. Wang Xian's expression changed slightly. He didn't expect the two dragon emperors to be so crazy. Boom! 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 The flames came crashing over, and Wang Xian's body was sent flying. In his vision, the entire planet seemed to have exploded as endless rolling lava came crashing over. What would happen if a volcano with a radius of 50 to 60 kilometers erupted completely? Such a volcano that had been deposited at the bottom of the sea for tens of thousands of meters wasn't something that the ocean volcanoes on Earth could compare to. Streams of flames rushed over, and the walls around the flames collapsed completely. Wang Xian saw the two dragon emperors spreading their wings and flying toward the sky. They want to escape. Wang Xian frowned slightly. He gritted his teeth and rushed over directly. If he let them escape, he would definitely attract the attention of the entire dragon race. He couldn't let them escape. Wang Xian moved his body and attacked the two dragon emperors directly. The lava that was spewing out landed on his body, causing his skin to turn red. The lava rocks that were spewing out collided with his body, causing his dragon scales to fall off. Do you think we are escaping? At this moment, the two dragon emperors were suspended in the air above the impact of the lava. They stared at Wang Xian with cold eyes. Let's go all out. Let's go all out and drown him. They flapped their huge wings. Streams of flames gathered around them. Two columns of fire shot toward Wang Xian from above. Crafty bastard. Wang Xian's face was gloomy. He looked at the volcano erupting at the bottom of the sea. Gritting his teeth, he charged forward. The columns of fire landed on his body, causing his dragon scales to fall off, revealing the flesh and blood inside. He did not dodge or block it. The dragon energy in his body was being depleted rapidly, healing the injuries in his body. Stupid thing. When the two dragon emperors saw that Wang Xian did not dodge at all, they flapped their dragon wings even faster. Soul Catcher. At this moment, Wang Xian's yin-yang and five elements dragon eyes emitted a hint of blood. The power of Soul Catcher charged directly at the two dragon emperors. The two dragon emperors were slightly stunned. Their attacks slowed down, and Wang Xian teleported to the front of the two dragon emperors. He opened his mouth and swallowed the two dragon emperors forcefully. You want to swallow me? Go to hell. However, when the other dragon emperor was halfway through swallowing, an attack landed on his body. Instantly, Wang Xian was in an extremely miserable state. He endured the pain and swallowed the dragon emperor into his stomach. I finally exterminated them. This time, I was too arrogant and careless. Wang Xian heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. He smiled bitterly as he felt his broken body. In the past half a year, he had been too arrogant and complacent. Today he had taught him a good lesson. He had almost fallen into the hands of two dragon emperors. The dragons in this world were not so easy to deal with. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, a towering flame came from below. This caused Wang Xian's bitter smile to freeze completely. A hint of fear flashed in his eyes. Oh no! The volcanic eruption in the deep sea within a radius of 50 to 60 kilometers caused an impact force that was not inferior to that of a level 3 dragon emperor of longevity. With Wang Xian's broken body, it was difficult for him to withstand this attack. However, before he could think about it and react, the flame struck his body. His body was almost torn apart in an instant. His entire dragon body was ejected from the surface of the water by the powerful force. Wang Xian's consciousness began to blur. He quickly used up his dragon aura to heal the injuries in his body. However, the injuries in his body were simply too severe. He flew far away with the remnants of his consciousness. However, he did not know how long it took before he fell into the sea. Under his self-protection, his dragon body shrunk to 1 meter in size. This body size was similar to the one he had become a divine dragon not long ago. His entire dragon body was more like a rotting corpse. The eruption of the volcano caused a tsunami within a radius of tens of thousands of kilometers. Along with the waves of the tsunami, his dragon body also floated on the surface of the sea. Miss, that creature seems to be dead. We have to hurry. Wait for Xiaoziu. It's still alive. Look, this creature is so cute, but its neck seems to have received a fatal injury and hasn't recovered. Third sister, come here quickly. How long do we have to wait for you? In front of the Golden Beach, a huge team stopped by the side. At the beach, a gentle woman was holding an unconscious creature and standing there with a servant girl beside her. In front of them, a young man's stern voice could be heard. I'm going back to the carriage. The woman looked at the young man's stern gaze and hurriedly walked into the carriage with the creature in her arms. What are you carrying? Don't bring anything messy with you. The young man looked at the creature in the woman's arms and frowned as he shouted. However, the woman lowered her head and did not respond to him. Instead, she quickly walked into the carriage. What a careless move. If we go to the imperial capital and provoke the young devil, our family clan will also suffer. The young man said from behind, and directly returned to the carriage. Chapter 1699. 1699 regained consciousness. Xiaoqiu, what kind of fierce beast is this? Look at his scales, they are actually 5-colored, so beautiful. He is injured, but his breathing is normal. I'll give him some pills. Miss, these are void interpretation level pills, you're wasting them. It's okay, I quite like this creature. If he wakes up, I'll raise him. Don't you think he's very cute? Our river city doesn't have such a beautiful pet. Miss, don't you think this pet is majestic? Look at his head, a few whiskers, and those colorful antlers. He looks so majestic. No, I think he's super cute. I've decided to cure him and make him my pet. When I get to the imperial city, I'll have someone to accompany me. Miss, I'll always be with you. Young Master Imo Xiaoyu might be a handsome and cool guy. It might be a good thing for you to marry him. The huge group moved quickly. In a carriage, a gentle woman was holding a creature and talking to a servant girl. The creature's head was like a camel, its horns like a deer, its eyes like a rabbit, its ears like a cow, its neck like a snake, its belly like a clam, its scales like a carp, its claws like an eagle, and its palms like a tiger. Its entire form was extremely majestic. However, because it was only 1 meter in size, its slender body made it look a little cute. You said that it has already been 3 days. I gave him several profound void tier 2 medicinal pills. Why hasn't he woken up yet? The entire group was moving at high speed. 2 days later, a gentle female's curious voice came from within the carriage. Young miss, I don't know either. The injury on his neck hasn't healed yet. Logically speaking, with so many medicinal pills, he should be able to wake up. Xiaoqiu shook her head, indicating that she didn't know. Why do you think he fainted by the beach? Fortunately, we found him. Some fierce beast saw him and might have eaten him. The gentle woman touched the creature's head with her hand and touched his antlers, saying with affection, Miss, Do you think this is an undersea volcanic eruption that washed up on the shore? Xiao Chu guessed. How is that possible? That volcano erupted a year ago. The gentle lady shook her head immediately. Wang Xian was unconscious. He had no idea how long he had been unconscious and where he was. Vaguely, he heard the voices of two ladies talking beside his ears. Volcanic eruption? A year ago? His dragon eyes moved and he was slightly shocked. Miss, his eyes moved. He might be waking up. At this moment, a cry of surprise came from the side. Wang Xian opened his eyes and realized that he was lying on a woman's body. A woman beside him was staring at him curiously. He's really awake. He's really awake. The gentle woman revealed a pleasantly surprised expression as she sized him up. The one who was saved was naturally Wang Xian. Feeling his weakness and such a small body, Wang Xian slowly got up. Thank you for saving me. I will repay you in the future. Wang Xian moved his body and leaned on the table beside him as he spoke indifferently. However, what surprised him was that after he opened his mouth and spoke, there was actually no sound coming out. He frowned slightly and felt the injury on his neck. The injury on my neck hasn't recovered yet. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he felt his strength. Wang Xian had to expend a huge amount of energy to cast soul capture on his neck. Soul capture was just a very special supernatural ability. It was already considered good if he could make an opponent of the same level stunned for a second. At the moment when the two dragon emperors were stunned, he devoured them. However, one of the dragon emperors reacted and launched a terrifying attack at him before he was devoured. The attack penetrated through his neck directly, causing him to be unable to make a sound. However, Wang Xian could also send voice transmissions to others through his consciousness. My injuries have not even recovered by 1%. My current strength is only at level 9 of the void interpretation stage. Wang Xian didn't send a voice transmission to the two women beside him immediately. He frowned slightly as he felt the injuries on his body. He could use his dragon energy to recover his injuries directly. However, he realized that the consumption of dragon energy was too terrifying. It could even lower his level. If he were to recover every day, it would take at least a few months. Forget it. If I don't encounter any danger, I'll just recover slowly. Wang Xian thought to himself. Xiao Chu, look at his eyes. They seem to be filled with wisdom. Is he a demon beast? With such a small body, even a demon beast should be a baby demon beast, right? Just as Wang Xian was thinking, the gentle voice of a lady suddenly rang in his ears. Wang Xian's face turned black when he heard her words. A baby demon beast? What the hell? Looking at the lady sizing him up, Wang Xian laid on the table coldly, recovering from his injuries. Wow, you look so cold and arrogant. It's so cool. Don't be afraid, little guy. I won't hurt you. What's your name? Let me give you a human name. How about Mu Banlan? How about it? Your body is colorful. This name suits you well. The gentle lady's voice rang out. She stared at Wang Xian with a face full of love. Miss, this name is nice to hear. It's colorful and colorful. Hee, but it's cuter to call it Xiao Banlan. Xiao Chu, who was at the side, said with a smile. Not bad, Xiao Banlan. Hee, are you a demonic beast? I'll teach you how to speak in the future. The gentle lady said without feeling bored. My name is Mu Kai Air. Isn't it nice to hear? Wang Xian opened his eyes indifferently and shot a glance at Mu Kai. Little variegated beauty might be a little shy. Miss, it might be afraid as it has just gone through a disaster. Xiao Chu guessed when she saw Wang Xian lying there quietly. Yes, it should be. Oh right, little variegated beauty. You haven't eaten for a few days, right? Here's some food. Mu Kai took out some food as she spoke. Wang Xian looked at the food and suddenly felt hungry. He didn't know how long he had been unconscious. He hesitated for a moment before grabbing the food and swallowing it. Ah, miss, look. He ate it. In a few days he will be close to you. Xiao Chu's voice rang out, and Wang Xian's face turned black. No matter what, he had the combat strength of a level 3 longevity expert. He was now considered a powerhouse on the continent, yet he was given a name by two women and given food. He had to bear with it for the time being. Wang Xian ate the food and continued to recover from the injuries in his body. It was safer here. He was not prepared to leave for the time being. Furthermore, he knew that Wuxia had saved him from the seaside and fed him a few insightful void tier elixirs. He, Wang Xian, naturally had to repay this favor. He would leave after he recovered his combat strength of a longevity expert. Wang Xian thought to himself as he lay there motionlessly. Chapter 1700. 1700 new masters of the nine gods. The carriage continued to move forward. Wang Xian, who had just woken up, was able to recover very quickly. However, the wound on his neck was a little fatal. It would take a few days for him to fully recover. We should be arriving at the imperial capital in 6 days. Little Gorgeous only knows how to sleep all day. She has already slept for 2 days. After traveling for 2 days, the servant Xiao Chu looked at Wang Xian, who was lying on the ground, and said with a wrinkled nose, "Children might be a little lethargic. Let him sleep." Wuxia touched Wang Xian's dragon horn and said with a smile, "I wonder what the new master of the nine gods will announce this time." Wuxia said with some concern, "Miss, some people say that the new lord of the nine gods is extremely cruel, while others say that he doesn't really take care of anything other than a large number of medicinal pills and spiritual herbs. He basically leaves everything to the old devil god and the Fire Cloud Sparrow Patriarch." The Fire Cloud Sparrow Patriarch assisted the #1 empress of the continent in the past. At that time, the empress was kind-hearted. Since the Fire Cloud Patriarch was able to leave the Phoenix dynasty because of the empress' death, he must be a person who values friendship. He shouldn't be too cruel. Xiao Chu, who was at the side, analyzed. But that's the case. Wuxia nodded. However, Wang Xian, who was lying on the side, was stunned when he heard their conversation. A look of astonishment appeared on his face. The new master of the nine gods, the Fire Cloud Patriarch. He slowly opened his eyes. There was an inexplicable glow in his eyes as he revealed a faint smile. It seems that Mo Sha has successfully taken over the position of the Lord of the Nine Gods. However, why did the Fire Lark tribe suddenly join the demonic god tribe? Wang Xian revealed a curious expression. Furthermore, there was another thing. He might really have been unconscious for a year. I can hitch a ride to find Mo Sha. Wang Xian thought to himself as he closed his eyes and continued to recover from his injuries. Time passed day by day. Another 6 days had passed and Wang Xian's injuries had finally recovered a little. His strength had returned to the realm of longevity. With this strength, he was completely capable of protecting himself. We're here. The imperial capital is right in front of us. Xiao Banlan, don't sleep anymore. Miss, this is the 3rd time we've come to the imperial capital, right? Wuxia and Xiao Chu's voices were heard. Soon after, Wang Xian felt himself being hugged by someone. Wang Xian's body moved and broke free. He was floating on Wuxia's left shoulder. He looked ahead and looked at this huge city that was like a miracle. 10 mountains stood behind the city. The first one on the left was a golden mountain peak that was shining with golden light. The second one was a tree peak that was full of vitality and vines. The third one was a water peak that fell from the sky. The fourth one was a fire peak that was like a volcano. The fifth one was covered in 9-colored light. The words Master of the Nine Gods were written majestically on it. The sixth one was an earthy yellow mountain peak. Behind it were wind peaks, thunder peaks that were surrounded by lightning, dark peaks that were shrouded in darkness, and dazzling light peaks. The 10 peaks were like 2 enormous palms. They were known as the 10-fingered divine peaks on the continent. It was said that the 9 gods of the 9-god empire had built cities. Each of these 10 peaks contained an incomparably terrifying power. When the 10 peaks were combined, they could form a terrifying array. It was said that even the dragon race could not break through this array. This was the 9 gods empire, one of the 5 great empires on the continent. It had a powerful foundation. And the master of the 9 gods could be said, without any exaggeration, to be one of the 5 people with the greatest power in the entire human race. In front of the 10-fingered divine peak, there was a very rough and huge city. Every building was incomparably huge. This city was like a giant city. Each floor was dozens of meters tall. The style was similar to the giant city in ancient Roman mythology. There were many people heading to the imperial capital of the 9-god empire. The carriage followed the team through the huge city gate and headed to the rear. There are so many people from the demon god tribe in the city. Xiao Chu looked around in surprise, looking at the residents of the demon god tribe. According to the rules of the 9-god empire, whichever tribe leader becomes the leader of the 9-god tribe, the imperial capital will belong to that tribe. Of course, there are also many factions that have always lived in the imperial capital. Mu Kaier swept her gaze across the surroundings as she spoke. The carriage traveled forward for another 5 hours, before arriving in front of the wood god peak. The rest of you disperse. Kaier, the few of you will follow me to my residence. A middle-aged voice sounded in front of the wood god peak. Mu Kaier's father was a profound void 9th-level expert of the wood god tribe. He held the position of an elder in the tribe. He was qualified to live in the wood god peak. As for his subordinates, they lived in the city. Jianshi Lingdong Kaier, make friends with the young elites of the demon god tribe tonight. And Kaier, get along well with the grandson of the elder of the demon god tribe. Mu Kaier's father led Mu Kaier and the others to the courtyard at the foot of the mountain. He instructed his children. It's father. The 3 immediately nodded and watched their father leave. We're a little late this time. Third sister, go to your room and quickly get dressed. Hurry up, we're going over now. The 2 youths looked at Mu Kaier and frowned as they said, It's eldest brother and second brother. Mu Kaier immediately lowered her head and replied, HMPH, you only know how to bully young miss. Eldest young master and second young master are really annoying. Mu Kaier brought Xiao Chu into the room as Xiao Chu pouted and said unhappily, Xiao Chu, lower your voice. Mu Kaier hurriedly said, Young miss, why are you being bullied by them? Their talent is not as good as yours, and their strength is not even on par with yours. They still dare to bully you. Is it because they were born from a concubine? Is it because young miss is a girl and wants to marry? Master is really unfair. Xiao Chu continued to say with dissatisfaction. All right, Xiao Chu, if others hear your words, I won't be able to save you. Mu Kaier frowned when she heard Xiao Chu's words. Oh, Xiao Chu lowered her head and said, oh, when she heard the mistone. Mu Kaier glanced at her and sighed. She went into the room and quickly dressed up. Are you done yet? Not long after, an impatient voice came from outside. All right, I'm here. Mu Kaier picked up Wang Xian, who was beside her. However, he dodged her and floated on her shoulder. He continued to close his eyes. Humph, it should be a young master. Otherwise, why wouldn't I be allowed to hug him? Mu Kaier teased him and walked out immediately. Why are you still carrying this broken pet that you picked up? There will be elite disciples from various tribes in the 9-god empire later. At the door, 2 handsome young men frowned and shouted when they saw the creature floating beside Mu Kaier. Chapter 1701. 1701 on the mysterious pet 1701. It's alright, big brother and second brother. The little multicolored one is very cute. Let's go. Mu Kaier saw her big brother and second brother frown, and quickly said while shrinking her head. Obviously, her 2 big brothers made her very fearful. Hurry up and leave. Father has arranged an engagement with young Master Mo Xiaoyu for you. When you see young Master Mo Xiaoyu, you have to please him. His grandfather is a half-step longevity expert. Father has also reached the 9th level of the profound void tier. He himself is a dragon among men. The 2 youths said with some envy, You are lucky to be able to marry him. Oh, Mu Kaier lowered her head and replied with a helpless expression. Her face was filled with bitterness. Although she was born in the wood god tribe, and her father was the patriarch, her talent was not bad. However, Because she was a girl and her mother was a concubine, she was not favored by her two brothers. Her father obviously did not care as much about her as he did about her two brothers. This time, for the sake of the family, he did not ask her about her wishes and betrothed her to an elder of the demon god tribe. Following behind her two brothers, Wuxia looked at the little multicolored cat, who was floating on top of her with her eyes closed. Her eyes were filled with helplessness. She was too arrogant to have saved this pet. It had been so many days, yet she wasn't allowed to hug or touch it. Wang Xian automatically followed beside Wuxia. In the past few days, he had gained an understanding of her worries and other matters. However, he didn't take these small matters to heart. When he saw Emosha in the next few days, he could change Wuxia's life with just a word. He focused his mind on recovering from his injuries. His body followed beside Wuxia unconsciously. Soon, the group of people arrived in front of the god peak of the Nine Gods Master, and a noisy voice entered his ears. Young Master Emosha, how do you do? This is our third sister Wuxia. Quick Kyer, greet young Master Emosha. At the foot of the god peak of the Nine Gods Master, there was an empty space, and around 5,000 to 6,000 young men were gathered there. Mu Jianshi and Mu Lingdong stood in front of a group of youths dressed in black. They smiled and said to the youth in the middle. The clothes of the 5,000 to 6,000 youths present could clearly distinguish which tribe they came from. Most of the youths gathered around the disciples of the demon god tribe. They chatted and laughed as they tried to curry favor with them. The demon god tribe was currently the strongest, and the position of the Nine Gods Lord had fallen to the demon god tribe. Naturally, they were trying to curry favor with the elite core disciples of the demon god tribe. Every elite disciple of the demon god tribe was surrounded by more than a dozen disciples from other tribes. Especially in the middle, more than 100 disciples with arrogant expressions surrounded 5 or 6 disciples of the demon god tribe. Clearly, the disciples of the dozen or so demon god tribes were the most outstanding young elites. Wuxia and the others were still some distance away from the center. Hello, young Master Emosha. At this moment, Wuxia looked at the youth whose father was her matchmaker. She squeezed out a smile and greeted him. Emosha. His name was not bad, and his looks were not bad. He carried a sense of arrogance. In fact, all the youths of the demon god tribe carried a trace of arrogance. They were also qualified to do so. Wow, Wuxia is really beautiful. Not bad, not bad. Emosha looked at Wuxia, and his eyes lit up. He said directly, "Stay by my side for the next few days." Wuxia was slightly stunned. She looked at Emosha with a face full of astonishment. Hurry up and thank young Master Emosha for being interested in you. At the side, Wuxia's two brothers hurriedly touched her arm. Wuxia squeezed out an awkward smile and stood there without moving. The statuses of both parties were completely different. If she married him, she would also be considered a high social status. Come, Kyer, I'll bring you to meet a few of my friends. Emosha looked at Wuxia with great satisfaction and waved at her. Wuxia nodded and walked over. In the future, as Emosha's wife, I will definitely not mistreat you. You don't have to be so restrained. Emosha directly stretched out his hand and wrapped it around Wuxia's shoulders. He leaned over and said with a smile on his face. Wuxia's body stiffened and her expression was a little awkward. Let's go, I'll bring some friends. Let them see my Emosha's wife too, haha. Emosha laughed and directly walked to the side. I didn't expect your family to actually have a marriage alliance with young Master Emosha and the others. TSK, looking at young Master Emosha's appearance, he should be very fond of your younger sister. Congratulations to all of you. Haha, it's our sister who has climbed up to young Master Emosha. However, our sister is also very outstanding. Now, she has the strength of a second-level void interpretation. When the surrounding young disciples of the Wood God tribe saw this scene, they said to Mu Lingdong and the others with some envy. Now that the demon god tribe was powerful, all the tribes were thinking of ways to befriend them. Mu Lingdong's family was very lucky to be able to get a woman to marry Mo Xiaoyu. Furthermore, Mo Xiaoyu's grandfather was an elder of the demonic god tribe, a top-level figure. Mu Lingdong and the other two were also laughing happily. Only Mu Kaier followed beside Mo Xiaoyu with a sorrowful expression. Xiaoyu, who is the lady beside you? Mo Xiaoyu brought them to a spot in front of them. When a few young men and women from the demon god tribe saw him, they asked curiously, "Haha, my fiancé. How is she? Is she pretty?" Mo Xiaoyu said loudly with a smile. "Not bad. Is she a beauty from the wood god tribe? Awesome, awesome." A few youths from the demon god tribe said with a smile. Xiaoyu has a fiancé. At this moment, two women walked over and asked with smiles on their faces. "Yes, Sister Mo Mei. This is my fiancé Mu Kaier. Kaier, this is the most outstanding beauty of our demon god tribe. She has a cultivation base at the 5th level of the void interpretation realm. Her strength is not weaker than our men. Let's greet her." Mo Xiaoyu looked at the woman who spoke and said with a fawning smile, "Sister Mo Mei, hello." Mu Kaier squeezed out a smile and called out softly, "Not bad, not bad. There are so many beauties of the wood god tribe." Mo Mei smiled and looked at the creature on her shoulder. She was slightly stunned. A mighty and cute pet. What kind of pet is this? I picked it up not long ago. I don't know either." Mu Kaier squeezed out a smile and said embarrassedly, "It's really cute." Mo Mei smiled and took a few steps closer to Mu Kaier. She stretched out her hand and wanted to touch it. "Sister Mo Mei likes it. Then I'll let Kaier give it to you. You can just take it." Mo Xiaoyu, who was at the side, saw Mo Mei's loving look and immediately said in a flattering manner, "Really?" Mo Mei's hand stopped in midair as she looked at Mu Kaier and Mo Xiaoyu. Really, Miss Mo Mei, this pet was picked up by Kaier by the sea." Before Mu Kaier could reply, Mu Lingdong and Mo Mei immediately came over and said with smiles on their faces, "I." Mu Kaier looked extremely aggrieved when she saw this scene. Chapter 1702. 1702 Under the Mysterious Pet 1702. This is the first time I've seen such a majestic and adorable creature. Mo Mei looked at the group of people who agreed and smiled. She continued to move her palm forward. Sensing that someone was moving towards her, Wang Xian opened his eyes slowly. A cold and majestic expression appeared in his eyes. Mo Mei felt Wang Xian's gaze and was slightly shocked. She looked at his eyes in astonishment. What a majestic little guy. He's really too cute. Mo Mei was stunned by this invisible aura for 2 seconds. Then, she laughed and continued to extend her arm toward Wang Xian. However, just when her palm was 1 meter away from Wang Xian, she suddenly felt a sharp pain in front of her. Her expression changed drastically. She quickly retracted her palm and couldn't help but take a few steps back. Her entire palm seemed to have been corroded and turned blood red, causing Mo Mei's face to be filled with fear. Everyone around was stunned as well. They looked at the terrified Mo Mei and her palm in astonishment. What's going on? What exactly happened? Mo Xiaoyu looked at Mo Mei in astonishment and asked. Mo Mei came back to her senses and looked at Wang Xian in shock. When she met his cold and disdainful dragon eyes, she actually felt a trace of fear in her heart. It's this pet. His strength. Mo Mei stared at Wang Xian with a haunted expression. What? The surrounding young men looked at Mo Mei's palm, and then turned to the pet hovering above Mu Kaier's left shoulder. Their faces were filled with shock. What's going on? Third sister, what's going on? Why didn't you take care of your pet properly? How dare you hurt Miss Mo Mei? Mu Lingdong and Mu Jinshi's expressions changed drastically as they shouted at Mu Kaier hurriedly. They looked extremely embarrassed. Mo Mei's background was extremely terrifying. She was the descendant of the old demon god from the demon god tribe. If they were to be blamed, they would have to pay the price. Aye. Mu Kaier looked at Wang Xian on her left shoulder in astonishment. Her face was also filled with panic. However, at this moment, Wang Xian shifted his gaze to Mu Lingdong and Mu Jianshi. He waved his dragon claw gently. In a flash, the grayish energy directly attacked the two of them. In fact, no one in the surroundings saw this attack. Before Mu Lingdong and Mu Jianshi could react, the terrifying energy landed on their bodies, causing him to spit out blood and fly backward. The powerful energy caused him to be heavily injured. What? This is that pet. Why didn't I see him attack? This pet is so terrifying. What level is he at? Why didn't I see his attack? Shocked voices came from the surrounding disciples of the Nine-God Empire. Everyone took a step back in unison and stared at the pet floating on Mu Kai's body in shock. Emome's pupils constricted slightly as well. She didn't see how this mysterious and terrifying creature attacked just now. Mu Kai, who was at the side, widened her eyes as she stared at the pet that she picked up by the sea in disbelief. Wang Xian took a glance at Mu Kai and hovered quietly in the air. In his eyes, the group of people around him, all the elite core disciples of the Nine Gods Empire, were like ants. What happened? The commotion and the serious injuries of the two of them attracted the curious gazes of the young men in the middle. They raised their heads slightly as they walked over. A young man in the middle asked loudly, Sister Emome, what happened to your palm? Is there someone who dares to attack you? The young man from the central demon god tribe swept his gaze across the surroundings. He was slightly shocked when he saw the injury on Emome's palm. He immediately asked, It's nothing. It's that mysterious pet. Emome shook her head. She looked at Wang Xian, who had closed his eyes with a solemn expression. Miss Emome, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know that little Gorgeous would hurt you. Brother. Only then did Mu Kai react. She spoke with a panicked expression and ran towards Mu Jianshi and Mu Lingdong. Mo Xiaoyu, who was at the side, was dumbfounded. He looked at her with a stunned expression. What happened? The youth in the middle frowned and asked. Young Master Mo Ling, is that mysterious pet. When Miss Emome wanted to touch him, her palm was injured. And we didn't see any movement. The two youths from the Wood God tribe were sent flying. A youth from the Wind God tribe immediately replied. A mysterious pet? How dare a pet hurt someone here? Mo Lingzi frowned and looked at Wang Xian with a cold expression. That pet seems to be very strong. It's definitely not weaker than a 7th level see-through void stage. That's right. I didn't even see how the two young men from the Wood God tribe were sent flying backward just now. They are too strong. I feel that they might be even stronger. The surroundings were filled with discussions. Mo Lingzi was also looking at Wang Xian in astonishment. However, he didn't have any information about this creature in his mind. Mu Kai, what's going on? At this moment, a young man from the Wood God tribe, who was wearing the same outfit as Mu Kai, frowned slightly and asked her directly. He was standing beside Mo Lingzi. Clearly, he was one of the top talents in the Wood God tribe. When Wang Xian heard the aggressive voices, he opened his eyes. There was a hint of coldness in his eyes. I'm sorry, Mu Kai said with a sobbing tone. She immediately helped her two brothers up. Mu Lingdong and Mu Jianshi stood up with pale faces. They looked at Wang Xian, who was on her shoulder, and took 2 steps back in fear. I'm sorry. When Mu Kai saw everyone's eyes on her, she bowed in fear and quickly walked out. Mu Kai, stop right there. The young man from the Wood God tribe, who was standing next to the demon spirit son, saw Mu Kai leaving immediately. He frowned and shouted immediately. However, Mu Kai, who was already in a daze, did not hear him. Instead, she ran out without knowing what to do. This made the young man who spoke look extremely embarrassed. Don't be afraid. Wang Xian looked at the flustered Mu Kai. After hesitating for a moment, he transmitted his voice to her. Who is speaking to me? Who is speaking to me? The voice that suddenly entered her mind shocked Mu Kai once again. She quickly asked. It's me. Let's go back to your place. Wang Xian looked at her and said faintly. In his opinion, Mu Kai was just an ordinary girl. She was even a little timid and cowardly. However, after she saved him from the seaside and gave him a few insightful void tear elixirs, She was destined to experience a huge change in her life. Chapter 1703. 1703 My benefactor, who would dare to touch him? Go. If Wuxia didn't pick him up from the sea, if she didn't give him the elixir at the insightful void tier, it might take some time for Wuxia to wake up. It was unknown if he would encounter any danger during this period of time. Speaking of which, Wuxia could be considered his benefactor. Naturally, he had to repay this favor. You can talk. Wuxia stared at Wuxia with a face full of astonishment. Her eyes widened, and she couldn't help but take a step back. Go back to your residence. Wuxia looked at her panicked look and smiled before saying again. Wuxia was somewhat inexperienced and naive. He had a good impression of this woman who had saved him. Good. Wuxia's expression changed as she nodded her head. She immediately walked towards the location of the wood god peak and entered the room. She closed the door and stared at Wuxia nervously. You saved my life. I will repay you. Wuxia transmitted his voice to Wuxia. As he spoke, he felt the interspatial ring that had been swallowed into his stomach. He looked inside and realized that there was nothing else other than some metal materials. Sit cross-legged and cultivate. Wuxia hesitated for a moment before speaking directly to Wuxia. Cultivate? What are you doing? Wuxia looked at Wuxia in astonishment and asked directly. It was not strange for a demonic beast to be able to speak. However, what made her uncertain was what the other party was trying to do. Sit cross-legged and cultivate. Don't worry, I won't harm you. Wuxia spoke in a gentle voice. Wuxia's expression changed. She nodded and sat cross-legged on the ground. She knew that the pet she picked up was not simple. Now that he had said that to her, he would not harm her. Otherwise, she would have been killed in the past few days. Wuxia sat cross-legged on the ground and started cultivating immediately. Wuxia opened his mouth slightly. The 5 elements millstone appeared and floated above Wuxia's head. Enter the state of cultivation. Wuxia reminded her. Oh. Wuxia nodded her head in response. The 5 elements millstone was activated. Wuxia did not hesitate to expend his dragon energy to transform it into an extremely pure azure dragon's energy and directly entered Wuxia's body. Furthermore, he used his supernatural ability to enchant the spirit to transmit his understanding of the wood attribute directly into her mind. This was the first time that Wuxia did not hesitate to expend his dragon energy to increase a person's strength. Waves of azure dragon energy completely enveloped Wuxia as the insights regarding the wood attribute were injected into her body. Wuxia's strength, which was at level 2 of the see-through, was increasing at a terrifying speed. Level 3 of the see-through. Level 4 of the see-through. Level 5 of the see-through. Level 6 of the see-through. Wuxia didn't stop until he reached the 7th level of the void interpretation stage. At her age, even the dragon race couldn't compare to her in the entire Super Hair continent. Alright. Wuxia's voice rang in Wuxia's mind. Wuxia woke up in shock and instantly felt the powerful strength coming from her body. Her eyes widened and her face was filled with disbelief. Wuxia! At this moment, an extremely stern voice came from outside. Oh no! Wuxia's expression changed slightly, and she hurriedly opened the door. Slap! However, just as she opened the door, a slap landed on her face. Wuxia narrowed his eyes slightly and looked over with a cold gaze. Father, I. Wuxia's eyes turned red instantly as tears streamed down her face. The pet you picked up actually injured 2 of your brothers. What's going on? Also, even the descendant of the old demon god, Miss Mo Mei, was injured. Are you courting death? Mu Xinghua called you but you ignored him. You. I think you are trying to anger me to death. Tomorrow, I will bring you over to apologize. If the matter cannot be resolved, get out of my sight. Get out of the wood god tribe. An angry shout came from Wuxia's father. The powerful aura suppressed her face, so much that it was extremely pale. She revealed a terrified expression. Humph. Mu Kaier's father swept his gaze across the room and met Wang Xian's cold gaze. His breathing paused slightly and then turned cold. We will decide your fate after the worship of the 9 gods tomorrow. Mu Kaier's father's face was gloomy. With a cold voice he walked out. You guys stay here and don't let her leave, he said to the 2 middle-aged men around him. It's the elders. The 2 of them quickly replied. Mu Kaier's father walked out with a gloomy face. When he saw the injuries on his 2 sons and heard what they had said, he instantly became furious. He didn't pay much attention to his 3rd daughter. Women were supposed to get married. This time, he thought of using marriage to befriend the demon god tribe, but he didn't expect it to backfire. This made him extremely angry. The power of the 9 god lord was very great. If he casually killed a few experts who were half a step away from longevity, no tribe would dare to say anything. This was the rule. Therefore he was a little frightened. He came over in anger. Sob sob. The sound of crying came from Mu Kaier's mouth. She was squatting on the ground and crying with a broken heart. Wang Xian shook his head when he saw this scene. It was not appropriate for him to make a move in such a situation just now. The worship of the 9 gods tomorrow. His eyes were sparkling. Following that, he smiled and looked at Mu Kaier. All right, Mu Kaier, don't cry. After tomorrow, no one will dare to bully you. Wang Xian transmitted his voice directly to Mu Kaier. You little gorgeous, don't be mischievous in the future. Mu Kaier raised her head and looked at Wang Xian with a crying face. Everything was caused by little gorgeous. When Wang Xian heard her name, his face turned black instantly. He immediately laid on the table and recovered. His injuries had not recovered yet. Now that he had used up his dragon energy, he was a little tired. Mu Kaier cried for a while. She wiped the tears off her face and sensed her own strength. Then, she looked at Wang Xian with a changing expression. Finally, she walked toward the bed with a helpless expression. Lying on the bed, she looked ahead in a daze. Her mind was filled with wild thoughts. Mu Kaier, bring your pet and come out. The next morning, a cold voice sounded from outside. Mu Kaier, who was lying on the bed, stood up in a hurry. Her expression changed, and she immediately walked out. Let's go. I'll bring you to apologize to someone today. An expressionless female figure stood by the door and swept a glance at Mu Kaier, who was walking over. Wang Xian opened his eyes and moved his body. He floated directly above Mu Kaier's shoulder. He looked at Mu Kaier's father indifferently. When he heard her words, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Apologize? Apologize for what? He wanted to see who would dare to lay a finger on his savior today. Or perhaps, make her suffer a little. Chapter 1704. 1704 Who would dare to touch the people under my protection? Don't speak when you get there. Do whatever I tell you to do. Mu Kaier followed behind her father with her head lowered. Her father's voice came from the front. It's father. She replied softly with a helpless look in her eyes. Wang Xian hovered on Mu Kaier's left shoulder and scanned his surroundings indifferently. Elder Ziyuan, hurry up. The 9 gods worship ceremony is about to begin. Just as Mu Ziyuan brought Mu Kaier out of the courtyard, an elder in front of them looked at them and urged them. It's third elder. Mu Ziyuan immediately quickened his pace respectfully and walked over quickly. Ziyuan, the incident with your daughter yesterday is neither serious nor serious. Today, you must apologize to the elders of the demonic god tribe. Mu Ziyuan and the others walked over. The third elder glanced at Mu Kaier and reminded him. It's the third elder. I know. Mu Ziyuan immediately smiled and nodded. Well then let's hurry up. The third elder nodded. The 2 of them quickened their pace and walked towards the 9 god masters' divine peak in the middle. Along the way, everyone in the other 9 god peaks all walked towards the 9 god masters' divine peak. With the birth of a new 9 god lord, there would be a 9 god worship. At that time, all the powerful experts in the entire 9 god empire would come over to worship. As the leader of the 9 tribes, the other tribes naturally did not dare to be negligent. Especially now that the demon god tribe had the help of the fire lark tribe, their strength was invincible in the 9 god empire. There were many insightful emptiness realm experts everywhere. In the entire 9 god empire, there were 60,000 to 70,000 insightful emptiness realm experts. This was definitely a terrifying number. Wuxia followed them to a huge square. In front of the square, there were 9,000-meter-tall statues. Each statue represented the founder of a tribe, representing the god of that tribe. In front of the 9 statues was a divine throne. The divine throne was 20 meters tall, and sitting on it could overlook everyone. In front of the huge square, many experts of the 9 god empire had gathered. The elders and elders of the 9 tribes had all arrived. In front of the huge square, there were more than 10,000 people. Just like the gathering of the younger generation yesterday, the other tribes had all gathered around the demon god tribe, trying to form a relationship with them. "Follow me," Mu Ziyuan said to Wuxia with a cold expression. He looked at the demon god tribe with a dark expression. Wuxia took a deep breath and followed behind him. She lowered her head and did not say anything. "Elder of the demon tribe, young master Mo Xiaoyu." Mu Ziyuan looked at the demon god tribe, where dozens of people gathered. He took a deep breath and squeezed out a smile. When he arrived in front of Mo Xiaoyu and Grandpa Mo Xiaoyu, he said with a smile on his face, "Oh, Elder Mu." The bearded elder in a black robe looked at Mu Ziyuan and said indifferently, "Elder of the demon race, my daughter was a bit rash yesterday and made a joke. Please forgive me, elder of the demon race." Mu Ziyuan bowed and apologized. "Hee, I was a little rash and made a joke." Before the black-bearded elder could speak, a middle-aged man beside him said coldly, "Brother Mo, it's my fault for not teaching you well. Elder Mo Xiaoyu cannot afford to lose face. I brought my pet to hurt someone, and even left so rudely." Before Mu Ziyuan could finish his words, Mo Xiaoyu interrupted him and said indifferently. He glanced at Wuxia behind him and shook his head slightly. He was originally very satisfied with this fiancée, but she had left last night. A group of people were discussing that she was his fiancée, making him look very embarrassed. He, Mo Xiaoyu, could not afford to lose this person. As for the possibility that Wuxia had a powerful pet, no one took it to heart. They were the top young elites of the 9 god empire. There were many demon beast races that had mounts that were at the level of level 8, level 9, or even half a step into the longevity realm in the 9 god empire. Who would care about that mysterious pet? Then, young master Mo Xiaoyu, your engagement with my daughter. Mu Ziyuan's expression changed slightly as he hurriedly said, "Let's talk about the engagement in the future." The black-bearded elder said indifferently. Mu Ziyuan's expression instantly turned ugly. Wuxia, who was standing behind him, also trembled. "My daughter's marriage has already been announced. This will make my daughter." Mu Ziyuan looked at the black-bearded elder and said with an embarrassed expression. The higher the level, the more they cared about face. The matter of Wuxia's engagement with the demon god tribe's Mo Xiaoyu had already been announced. Now that the demon god tribe did not agree, it was simply a disguised form of breaking off the engagement. This black dot would follow Wuxia for the rest of her life. In fact, many families would not marry Wuxia because of face. This would have a huge impact in the future. Haha, Elder Jean, long time no see. However, at this moment, the black-bearded elder ignored them and greeted the golden-robed elder in front of him. "Bastard, what's the use of having you?" When Mu Ziyuan saw that the tribal elder of the demonic god tribe was ignoring him, he turned his head with a face full of anger and shouted at Wuxia. Wuxia's body trembled. She lowered her head and didn't dare to speak. Her eyes instantly turned red. "Yesterday your pet hurt Miss Mo Mei. Let's go." Mu Ziyuan took a deep breath and looked at Wuxia. Then, he looked at Wang Xian who was floating on his left shoulder coldly. He looked around and saw Mo Mei following around his parents. When he noticed the elders of various groups gathered around him, He frowned slightly. However, he still braced himself and walked over. Damn it, how can you be my daughter? Mu Ziyuan said in a flustered manner. He squeezed out an awkward smile and walked towards the group of people. Miss Mo Mei, I'm really sorry about what happened to my daughter last night. Mu Ziyuan walked over and smiled apologetically at Mo Mei. Oh, Mo Mei was slightly stunned as she turned her head to look. When she saw Mu Kaier and the mysterious pet floating on her shoulder, she smiled. It's all right, I've already recovered. Mo Mei shook her head as she looked at the mysterious pet. How can you be fine, Miss Mo Mei? Look at the scar on your palm. You just left without any manners. How embarrassing for our wood god tribe. However, just as Mo Mei said that, a youth dressed in the wood god tribe's uniform said from the side. That youth was none other than the youth from the wood god tribe, who was with Mo Lingzi and the others yesterday. Miss Mo Mei, I have some wood spirit essence here. I didn't bring it with me yesterday. Today, I specially brought some for you. After applying it, it can remove the scars. The youth smiled as he took out a small blue porcelain bottle and handed it to Mo Mei. Thank you, young master Mu Qingming. Mo Mei hesitated for a moment before smiling and nodding her head. It's just a small matter. It's just a beast randomly injuring people. Just kill the beast. At this time, the devil spirit son who was standing not far from the side looked over and said faintly, You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.